Hey guys, welcome in. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Thanks for spending it with us. Coming up here in just a little bit, the mayor of Lebanon, Matt Gentry, will be with us. We're gonna have a multi-pronged spirited discussion today. We're gonna talk about this article in the Indy Star about the impact that the Leap District is having on the residents around Leap. What rights do they have? Are they being taken care of? We'll get into our usual back and forth over the IEDC and Leap, and we'll talk about this $52 million referendum planned in Lebanon for the police department. So we've got referendums, we got Leap, we got all the good stuff coming up here in just a little bit. Before we get to that, though, couple of big stories yesterday. And by the way, if you're new here, welcome. We do Indiana news, politics, and government unlike anybody else. 3 hours a day. Most of it is stories that hit here close to home right here in the Hoosier State. And story comes to us from the Indy Star. Lead story of the day comes to us from the Indy Star. Big doings last night at the Indianapolis City County Council meeting, the commission meeting. They are moving forward with a proposed ban on data centers. So last night, the council's Metropolitan and Economic Development Committee voted 10-3 to recommend approving a pause proposed by the council president, Maggie Lewis, which will now move forward to the full council for a vote. The pause would stop data centers through December of next year, conveniently. And look, I'm not a conspiracy person, but conveniently just in time to get the mayor's election out of the way. And a bunch of the council races. Just in time. What do you know, right? It's amazing how things work out. All right, so before we talk about what happened, again, this is probably a good thing no matter what the reason is, because nobody has any idea what they're doing with the data centers. Now, the data center people know what they're doing with the data centers. But I'm saying in terms of local governments, in terms of our state, in terms of our local communities, in terms of our taxers, we have no idea what's going on. And the math doesn't add up. Look, it's one thing to take, some risk if money's on your side. If the finances are on your side, it's okay to get a little bit adventuresome every so often. But in the case of the data centers, there is yet to be a compelling argument, a compelling case made just purely on math. In the case of many of these data centers, how it's going to benefit these communities that are being asked to approve them. So what I'm talking about is the data centers themselves. Yeah, impressive amount of assessed value. And if they were taxed at 3% on a $1 billion building, you'd be looking at $30 million a year for the community. Great. Sign us up for that, right? However, that's not how it works. The data centers will not only be under abatements, they'll be under special abatements. So it will be decades, plural, before they'll be paying their full freight. So in the immediate future, there's not that great financial payoff. That's the first part of it. The second part, all of the special exemptions they get, a la sales tax exemptions, in which they're not, from a tax perspective, contributing to their communities. You think about, there's three sort of main taxes. There's all sorts of hidden taxes, right? They call them fees, but they're taxes. But in terms of the kind of three main ones by which we run our society here in this state, there are property taxes, there are sales taxes, and there are income taxes. That's what you kind of look at. Now, obviously, there's gas tax, etc. But when a development is looking to come in and they're looking for incentive, those are the three things you look at. Well, with the abatements, the property taxes are negligible in the immediate future in many cases, certainly for the risk. Sales taxes, not paying sales taxes, sales tax exemption, throw that out. And the income tax is basically non-existent because they don't hire employees. Many of these places are 30 or 40 people. That's it. It's nothing. It's not anyway meant to demean those jobs, but it's certainly not enough for the risk of the unknown of the data center. So this is the question I and many others have been asking is, why are we doing this? If the dollars aren't there, which in many cases we have not seen proof. Now, we'll see these data centers offer to do special things like, hey, we'll give $1 million to the school, or we'll buy police cars, or blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. But in terms of sustained monetary guarantees, often not there. And so until that makes sense to the public at large, why are we doing this? And I think that's part of the questions plural, that the Indianapolis City County Council is trying to get answers to. Now, again, what they're basically doing because of the public outcry is they're taking this off their plate through the election year next year. That's what they're doing, or it appears that way. Because it's not an indefinite moratorium until we say otherwise. It's through December of 2027. All the Democrats voted for the plan. Now, just a reminder of how this works and what when we talk about committees. So there is a full city council, 25 members. Takes a majority to get something passed. There is also a mayor, of course, Joe Hogsett, who has the ability to veto whatever the city council does. And then that veto can be with the supermajority overridden and or overrode, whatever the correct grammar is. And to get things, oftentimes, to get things to the full council for a vote, it has to go through various committees. Items will get assigned into various boards, various commissions, and that's what happened yesterday. A board/commission, committee, whatever you want to call them, has now moved this forward to the full council for a vote. Now, what's interesting is late yesterday, in fact, right before the vote or the hearing came down, Joe Hogsett, who has been not only somewhat silent on this, but has really seemed like to many people he's in favor of the data centers, came out against it. He said, quote, "I support the proposed data center moratorium and welcome the additional time to continue this vital conversation. I recognize this is an incredibly important issue for our residents, and we look forward to engaging with neighbors, experts, and stakeholders in the coming months." This certainly seems like a guy who's running for re-election. Certainly has the tone of a guy who's considering a fourth term. It has a very political feel to it. This is one of the instances where two things can be true at the same time. Something can have a political feel, but also be best. Something can be done for the wrong reasons, but also be right. In this case, that's what this feels like. We want this off our plate. We realize there's outrage. We realize it is growing. And we realize these are the sort of things that can cost people elections. We're frozen in fear. The best thing to do, wipe it off the plate. Sorry, developers. Sorry about you. You're going to have to wait. And they're going to screw some developers in the process of this. But as Hogsett has proven over the years, you can't trust him as far as you can throw him. There are according to the Star, there are 19 counties, it would be 20 with Marion County, that have paused or banned approval of new data centers as of June 18th. That is according to the Citizens Action Coalition. They're a consumer advocacy group. And by the way, I do that all day now, just laughing about Diego. And by the way, the Star has a huge write-up on this. They followed the meeting in real time if you want to go back and read it. Hopefully, if Indy moves forward, being the capital city, this will spur every other county to join them in our state. Because that's the only way we're going to get the state to act to start the conversation, which is what has to happen. There has to be two layers to this. There have to be, first of all, we have to understand what's going on. And when I talk about understanding, and this is what's amazing to me for Braun, he's supposed to be the world's greatest businessman, can't figure this out. The public needs to understand what the business plan is related to the data centers. Why are we doing it? Number one. Why are we investing so heavily in it? And how does it pay off? We don't know any of that right now. We just know that we keep doing it. And again, none of these comments are meant to be construed as anti-data center. I am not anti-data center. I am pro-transparency, and I am pro-policy that works for communities. And I believe we can achieve that. I have a dream. I have a dream that someday we can have a public policy in which we have data centers, but that they clearly benefit the communities they're placed in or the communities that allow them to exist. Right now, we don't have that. And it's going to take a massive protest from communities collectively across our state to force action from the state. It's a two-pronged approach. Number one, the state has to lay out what they're doing and why. Why are you as a state, IEDC, incentivizing the data centers? Why are we as taxpayers paying for them? What's the payoff? I don't think they can make that sales pitch, and I think that's one of the things they're petrified of. I don't think that the state can make the proper sales pitch to the public on why they're doing this. That's why they've had to do it through the IEDC. Because the reality is the jobs don't exist. In many of these places, 30, 35, 40 jobs. If you got one of those jobs, probably a good deal. Most people, no. And so I think the state is petrified to have to actually engage in the conversation because I think once you open the books up on this, it all falls apart. But the state has to lead by explaining what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, what the payoff is in the immediate future and the long-term future, what the risk is, an honest assessment on risk as it relates to power, as it relates to water, etc. An honest conversation about the inevitable that many of these data centers will use so much power they will cause utilities to skyrocket, but an honest assessment about what that looks like. And then we have to create two sort of boundaries around the data centers. Number one, and this is where the state comes in, a minimum floor, guardrails, whatever you want to call them. Here's exactly the bare minimum that we expect from the data centers. And then if local communities want to add on top of that, then that's their prerogative. We have entered the data center people have handled this all wrong, and it's too bad. Because the data center people are trying to run the data center developments like any other large-scale development, and it's just not the case. Look, if somebody's going to build a warehouse, whether you're for the warehouse or not, as long as industrial goods, whatever, right? It's a shipping place for, large retailer, whatever. You know what's going in there. You know sort of the formula as a community. The building's worth $50 million. It's getting a 10-year abatement. You understand what the people do there. We take it, we ship it, right? We build stuff, we ship it. Tabletops, whatever it might be. And the trucks come in and the trucks go out, and people can understand how that works. They understand what business is taking place in there. They understand, if they're really into it, what their return on investment is. They may not agree with it, but they understand it. None of that's taking place with the data centers. People don't know what they do. They don't know why they're there. They don't know why it's being accomplished. They don't understand how it benefits them. And then you get into and then once people don't understand stuff, they are immediately going to be against it. People are never going to be, the overwhelming majority of people, never going to be for something they don't understand. The data center people have tried to operate under standard operating procedure for large-scale developments, and that doesn't work. And they've got to pull their heads out of their ass and figure that out. The data center people have buy-in in this too, because they've done a horrible job of explaining this to people as well, because they just want the thing approved to be built. And yeah, they got a bunch of them early on. But as we've seen the pushback, they're getting fewer and fewer of them, and it's getting harder and harder. Until there is a broad conversation, and I'm talking about a thing where the governor or the leaders of our state tour the state, stand up in front of people, answer questions, explain it to people. This is not going to change. And I don't think Braun's capable of doing that. I don't think Braun's capable of being the salesman to get this done. The IEDC is completely tarnished, so I don't think they can do it. And so I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I know what needs to happen, but I don't know how you accomplish it. You now have the capital city, urban intensive area, which is not, it's a liberal area. It's very diverse. It's run by Democrats. And now you have them saying, take the pause too. So you can't say it's the hillbillies, right? It's these uneducated country bumpkins who don't know nothing about nothing. No, this is this capital city that's going to go forward with the pause, it looks like. So everybody now is in the same boat. The data center people need to just call a timeout, pause, reflect, go back to the drawing board. And they need to get a game plan together with the state, and then it needs to filter down to the locals. We're not anywhere near any of that. And it's just going to keep getting worse. But good job by the city of Indianapolis, no matter what the reason was. And hopefully that will spark more counties to join them, which will ultimately force the state to act. Now, the one thing you risk with the state acting is that they act in favor of the data centers, because you never know with these people. All right, couple of housekeeping items. You guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay. BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry foundation and chimney specialist. They've been with us from the beginning. Special thanks to Bramwell Mackay. If you haven't done so yet, make plans to join us. Yes, I mean me and Jason. October the 3rd in Seymour, our pal John Russ, sponsor of our third hour. He is hosting a big old party, and all the listeners and viewers of the Rob Kendall Show are invited. It's at his palatial estate in Seymour, Saturday, October the 3rd. It is in celebration of America's 250th birthday. There's no cost at all to attend. Going to be patriotic music, antique car show, lunch catered by Double D's, fabulous sponsor of the Rob Kendall Show. You get a free lunch out of it. People say there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, I guess you got the cost of driving. But if you carpool and you get somebody else to drive you, then it sort of is a free lunch. Lunch from Double D's. I'm going to give a little speech on how awesome our country is and a whole bunch more. Here's all you got to do. By the way, the thing starts at noon. Here's all you got to do. Send an email. Just tell John, hey, I'm coming. My name is so-and-so, and I'm bringing my wife or my 2 kids. Kids are welcome, by the way. I told John kids should not be welcome, but he said they are welcome. Send an email. rustforamerica@gmail.com. I told Rust, I said, don't let the kids come. rustforamerica@gmail.com. I spend enough time around kids. I don't want to deal with your kids. rustforamerica@gmail.com. rustforamerica@gmail.com. A couple of other things. And we got more news to get to, and then we'll get to the Matt Gentry interview. Hit the thumbs up button. There's 3 ways you can help us grow this program. If you're watching us live right now on YouTube, we call it like, share, and subscribe. Or if you're watching us on demand on YouTube, number 1, hit the thumbs up button. Nobody does local like us. We've made a commitment. We never wavered from it. We're going to bring you Indiana news, politics, and government unlike anybody else. It's why we started this show. We felt there was a major void in Indiana of people dedicating coverage each day to the biggest stories of Indiana news, politics, and government. And so we are totally dependent upon you, our fabulous audience, to help us grow the program. The 3 ways you can do it, we call it like, share, and subscribe. Number 1, hit the thumbs up button. Watch us live, watch us on demand. That really does help us. If you're listening to us, if you're one of our fabulous persons who listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all the on-demand places, give us that 5-star review. Also really helps us grow. Share it out. Whatever feed you're listening to us on or watching us at, share it out. Facebook, Twitter. Let people know we're here. And last but certainly not least, subscribe to the feed. Like, share, subscribe. It's how you help us grow over at the Rob Kendall Show. We can't do it without you. All right. Other big story that came down yesterday is that Bayh came out with an interesting pledge over the weekend. Now, of course, Bayh is the Democrat nominee for Secretary of State. He will be taking on Lori Schillings, the Libertarian, Max Engling, the Republican, and as of today, when he turns in his signatures, Greg Ballard, the independent candidate, Lincoln Party. By the way, Ballard's doing that today. I think 10:30-ish when they're turning in. It is projected to be well over 41,000 signatures. He needed to get just under 37,000. So, barring something just totally unforeseen, he will be running for Secretary of State, which is great. Not great in the sense of Rob's endorsing Greg Ballard. It's great in the sense of more people are running, which is always good. I like that the Libertarians can run. They nominate some squirrels sometimes, but I like that they're there. I want more people being able to participate in the government that they're forced to pay for. So when I talk about, hey, great, Greg Ballard's running, don't misconstrue that as an endorsement or telling you to vote for Greg Ballard. You vote for whoever you want to vote for. We'll lay it out for you in the coming months about what each vote means. I'll vote for one of these people. The only one I know I'm not voting for is the Republican. But the other three, I'm totally open for business. I think it's great that there's more people running. So Bayh, obviously, as the Democrat, over the weekend, and this made the papers yesterday. Made the papers. How old am I? It made the papers. It made the internet yesterday. And he is claiming, if elected, and Indy start with the big write-up on this if you want to read it for yourself. If elected, he will establish a strict ethical guidelines for campaign staffers and will not award Secretary of State contracts to a single donor. Okay, this is a big deal because it is a direct shot at Diego Morales. And I have said from the beginning, and it looks like, look, all I can do is offer advice. And my advice is free, and it is to everyone. We do it live here on the internet every day. Anybody can take it or not take it or whatever. And I have said from the beginning, whether it is Max Engling or David Shelton or Diego Morales, whoever it was, I said Bayh needs to run against Diego Morales. Don't let the Republicans define the message for you. You define the message to the Republicans, and that message has to be, it doesn't matter what person you prop up in Diego's place. Diego did all the stuff. The Republicans did nothing about it. The Republicans condone the behavior. If you elect Engling, you're voting to cover up Diego. And it looks like that's the approach Bayh is going to take, which I think is his best option. If you try to start running against Engling, it's going to be too hard, depending on what you can uncover on the guy. Never let, in sports, right? You always talk about the game plan. Whoever best executes, of all things being equal, if talent is relatively equal, whoever best executes their game plan. You see this a lot in football. Hey, we're a run-heavy team. And the defense is going to do everything they can to stop the run because they want you to pass the ball. And you will see a lot of run-heavy teams, hey, it may take them a quarter. They may get stopped over and over and over again. But they keep running the football. Why? You don't let the opposition define your game plan. If you do, you're going to lose. And the Bayh game plan appears to be, we're going to attack the Republicans where Diego is most vulnerable. We're going to run against Diego. We want everybody to know about Diego because he's still in the office. That's the key. He's still in the office. So it's relevant. I mean, it'd be relevant anyway, but it is relevant. He's still there. He's going to work or something that resembles work every day, and he's getting paid. And the public needs to know who Diego is, who he was, what he did, and what the Republicans were okay with him doing. And so this is a direct shot at Diego because, of course, Diego has the mega contracts to mega donors. We've laid them out for you. And that money, in many cases, touches other Republicans, other prominent Republicans. That's what this is about. This is putting that front and center on who Diego Morales gave contracts to. It's a great move by Bayh. Quote, if elected, any campaign staffer working for me will be completely prohibited from contacting any state employee about state business, Bayh said in a statement. I've been clear since the first day of this campaign that I will conduct an independent audit of this office to root out the corruption we've seen. In that spirit, I pledge to not award Secretary of State contracts to anyone who has donated to my campaign. Now, he waited until the middle of July to do this, and the guy's gotten a lot of money. Hey, that's between him and his donors. If he is a donor, you may have woke up a little surprised to that announcement. I don't know. I noticed he didn't do it in November of last year. He said, what? Oh, well, but that's between him and his donors. And it is from a pure campaign perspective, it's a very good move. Because now it allows the onus to go on to the other candidates. Like, what is Max Engling going to say to that? Bayh, speaking of Engling, Bayh's campaign, Bayh took a shot at Engling and challenged Engling to do the same pledge, which is a strong move. He said, quote, unfortunately, even if he makes that claim, it is impossible to know the truth because his largest campaign donation is from fundraiser Marty Hope's dark money PAC that doesn't reveal its donors, Bayh said. And again, if you want to read this whole article for yourself, it's in the Indy Star. Will Marty's PAC reveal its donors so that we know for a fact who is funding Max Engling's campaign? Of course, Marty Opes is a prominent Republican fundraiser. He's been around forever. He is one of the main guys. He's helped in Washington. He's helped in Indiana. And he is heavily backing Max Engling. What Bayh is referencing is that Hoosier Leadership for America, the dark money group that has been heavily behind various causes. They are now behind Engling. It's shelled out, according to the Star, $60,000 to Engling's campaign. Now, the dark money stuff is totally legal. Let's be as specific as we possibly can be. There is nothing wrong with the dark money in terms of the way the law is written. There's nothing wrong with any media entity running ads funded by dark money. It's all perfectly legal. Now, whether people want to say they should exist or not exist, that's a fair conversation. But any TV station, any radio station, anybody, they're not doing anything wrong. And the people who are forming the groups are operating within the confines of the law. There is absolutely nothing illegal about the dark money. Now, again, it's a very fair conversation to say whether groups should be able to exist that don't have to disclose their donors. But that's the law right now. One of the reasons I think this came out, and this is very interesting, is that it came to light that Bayh has paid a large amount of money to the firm of the woman who is at the center of the Hogsett controversy about the mega donors wanting contracts with City Hall. Remember the story we talked about that there is allegedly, according to the Indy Star, there was this wish list from Hogsett's mega donors that went to City Hall about contracts they wanted, projects they wanted. The woman at the center of this, her name is Emily Gurwitz. Her firm is EG Strategies, according to the Star, was paid by Bayh at least $30,000 for fundraising since his campaign launch. Now, one of the things that's interesting is the Bayhs and the Hogsetts are pretty close. And so Bayh thus far has been very quiet about the allegations made about Joe Hogsett. Now, this was a statement issued by Gurwitz after the Indy Star article broke because she was the alleged conduit to City Hall from the campaign donors. Quote, I want to be crystal clear. I've never promised any donor a public contract, favorable treatment, or any official action in exchange for a campaign contribution. Nor have I ever played any role in evaluating proposals, scoring submissions, selecting vendors, or making contracting decisions related to public contracts. I never have, and I never will. I stand firmly by those statements. I am proud of the record I have built over more than 15 years of service and the opportunity to help elect candidates I believe in. Okay, this is very interesting because most of these people who give, now it's not every person, but a lot of them that give, they're not running soup kitchens. They're not giving because of the dynamic personality of the candidate. They're not giving because these people are fun to hang out with. They give because they want something. It's true with both parties. Very few people. Now, we found one in John Rust, who never asks us for anything, and quite frankly, very rarely ever communicates with us unless we instigate it. But very few people ever will give you money for no reason whatsoever. Your grandma would, maybe, depending on how much she likes you. Your grandpa would, maybe, depending on how much she likes you. But very rarely do people, in any circumstance, politics or otherwise, I mean, think about your job. Does your employer give you money because they just love you? No, they give you money because you work. You produce for them. If you didn't produce, they probably wouldn't have you in the position. Now, there are a few exceptions, but for the most part, that's how it works. This show, our advertisers advertise with us because they want and get response. It's true with other media that people advertise on. By the way, if you are ever interested in letting us promote your product, we would love to do that. Sales@robkendallshow.com is the email. Sales@robkendallshow.com. You're free to contact any of our advertisers. Ask them about their experience with us and how we've been able to produce for them. Sales@robkendallshow.com. Would love to meet you, learn about your business, promote your business if it works out for everyone. But the point of all of this is these people don't give, for the most part, with some exceptions, to campaigns because they love the person. They give because they want something. And so Bayh's pledge to not offer any contracts to anyone who gives to his campaign, it will be interesting to see how that affects his ability to fundraise, which has been his big plus so far. He's raised $1 gajillion, and we're not even to election season. How that affects his ability to fundraise going forward. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Matt Gentry, the mayor of Lebanon, will be with us. It's always a spirited conversation. We're going to talk about this Indy Star article that basically said the lives of the people who live around Leap are being ruined. We'll ask if that was a fair article, if the criticism is fair. We're going to talk about this $52 million proposal for the police station referendum in Lebanon. We're going to get into the referendum conversation. I think it's going to be a throwdown. It always is when the mayor's here. We'll talk about it. Coming up next, you're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Look who it is. You're back again.
Glad for punishment.
Matt Gentry, the mayor of Lebanon. How are you?
I'm doing well, Rob. Thanks for having me.
You know why we like you?
Because I come in.
You come in. See, and I told you this the other day, if I could get your spirit to fight from the rest of these guys, I mean, they have a spirit to fight on the internet.
Yeah.
They do not have the spirit to fight in person. My life would be great.
Well, I think it's important to just have the conversation.
Yeah.
I would rather talk things through. The issues you touch on oftentimes are complicated. So I think it's better to actually have a long form conversations versus 140 characters.
We may go 10 minutes. We may go an hour. I have no idea.
Whatever you want.
Tee it up, right? Okay, so you're back. And the thing I like about you is you're a pesterer. I say something, then you pester.
Why you get I told you I listen to the show.
Yeah, you're
right?
our listener.
So I'll text you when I finally catch the point, and I'm like, oh, got to text Rob. Yeah, so you get an update of when I'm actually listening to your show.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so a couple things we're going to talk about today. Let's start with the referendum.
Sure.
Now, you were here. You didn't mention the referendum the last time, which means either you were hiding from me, which I don't think you were, or you're a marketing genius and you knew that if you didn't mention the referendum the last time you were here, you knew I'd invite you back. So that's a good move if that's what you were doing.
I'm always happy to have the conversation. But I would say also there was an important step the council had to make an action on. So they actually had to vote to go forward with the referendum on the police station. So
do they ever tell you no?
They do. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, we had an annexation recently that was denied. So
do you know beforehand they're going to tell you no, or do you find out like with everyone else?
I found it on the fly with everybody else. Yep. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people think I am telling the council what to do all the time. It's not the case.
Okay.
So no, I don't whip votes. I try to present things.
You don't go bark at people about voting for your stuff?
I don't.
Aren't you supposed to do that as a mayor?
I try to let the ideas present themselves, and I try to let them understand the larger context. We do have working sessions sometimes to present complicated things in a session that we can kind of talk through them. But no, I don't go and say, hey, I really need you to vote for this for me. I don't twist elbows or anything like that.
Do you think other mayors are like you? Like the guy in Noblesville? Like, do you think he's twisting arms?
They're a little different though, right? Because they're not in the room always, right? Second class cities, they're the mayors aren't running the meeting.
Right.
Obviously, as the third class city, I'm the one running the meeting. So
when you say class city, just let everybody know, it's based on size of
correct,
the city.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, not based on quality.
Right.
Correct, yeah. So I'm in the room with them. I'm part of the discussion. I'm leading the meeting. So maybe it's a little different scenario with a different type of.
See, I wouldn't hold it against you if you were barking at people to get your way. I would be all for that. That's your job.
No. I mean, my job is to lead, but we have people with us, right? And so I think it's my job is to make the arguments to the council and have them understand what we're trying to do, understanding the vision, and when they agree, they vote yes, and when they don't agree, they vote no, and we have those discussions.
All right, so you Lebanon, the city of Lebanon, you are putting a $52 million referendum on the ballot this fall for the people that have to live in the city of Lebanon.
Correct, yeah. So, one, I just want to set the stage, right? Our police station.
Oh, here we go with the sob story.
It's 64 years old.
Oh, here we go with the sob story.
It's a 64-year-old building. And as you know, when it comes to referendum language, there's a difference between the actual cost of the project and what's on the referendum ballot language. So the actual police station itself, we actually are targeting $30 to $35 million. But based on where we are in the process, we have to put a worst case possible scenario, highest possible expected cost. And that's the $52 million number. That we have zero intention of building a $52 million police station. Our goal is 30 to 35.
Okay. So referendums to me, or tax caps to me, because you're a historian, you know the history of Indiana politics and government. People were very angry pre-tax cap, which is why we got tax caps. And the referendum language, if you recall the debates at the time, which you do, your dad was a very influential Republican. It was like for emergencies, right? It was like not supposed to be for daily uses. And I don't think the tax caps were a suggestion from voters, which is why they're in the Constitution. But it seems like all the local governments, it's just more of an idea than an actual thing.
And on some level, I agree partially with you, where from a school perspective, I agree that was kind of the intention with it. Now, there's always been language about controlled projects for cities, which is very different than a school referendum. This is not an operating referendum. This is strictly a capital project. It's actually a controlled project referendum, which is actually different than what the schools are doing.
All right. So you don't believe, right, that like the tax cap is the line in the sand. It's more of a suggestion than a...
Well, Lebanon's not at the tax caps today, right? So, and even with the referendum, we wouldn't be at the tax caps either. So, the tax caps, as you know, that the property taxes are way more complicated, right? Lebanon is at a 0.77-ish property tax rate. So we're not at 1% today.
That includes your school corporation?
Yeah. Or no, that's a city rate.
That's right. City. I'm saying it collectively goes in, it becomes one, right? I mean, that's why your school had a school referendum, right? They're above, the taxpayers are above the cap.
But cities, as you know, we have rules on us, maximum levy growth quotient. We have maximum levy growth. There are things that we are not. Even if we said, hey, we want to do the maximum, levy we can have for the city, we can't do that. We can't just wave a wand. As you know, levies are budget based. They're not just rate based. So that's a big difference.
But your taxpayers of Lebanon with the school referendum, I'm not saying it's all you. I'm saying collectively, those people are paying over 1%.
No, they're not.
Even with the school referendum?
Even with the school referendum, they're not.
Okay, so why are you going the referendum route then? Because like in Brownsburg where I live, and I disagree that they're doing this, they're building another police station in Brownsburg. And I look at this and I say, my God, the one that we have now, it's gigantic. Oh, that's not good enough. And now we're building a public, the street department is in there too. And theirs is like 35 million. They're not doing it via referendum. What's the difference? Why are you doing this the way you're doing it?
Because I believe people should have a voice in it, Rob. I think people should be involved in the process and people should understand the decision they're making. And I think the best way to do that is through a referendum. That's the whole point of a local control discussion is to have the people understand an issue and then make a decision for their local community. That's local control, home rule, whatever you want to call it. That's what I'm all about from a local perspective. So that's we've never had a purpose-built police station in Lebanon, right? So I can't speak to how Brownsburg is, but we've never had a purpose-built police station. And again, as I mentioned earlier, our police station is 64 years old. It is falling apart. Our city budget, I don't know what Brownsburg is, but our city budget is $25 million. So to build a $30 to $35 million police station within a $25 million budget of the city, there has to be some type of process. And frankly, also by doing a referendum, I hear this all the time. People say, well, Lilly or Meta, they should build it for you. I agree. And that's why when we do a referendum, Lilly and Meta pay the referendum rate just like everybody else. In our business park, they'll pay the referendum rate. Even if you're in the TIF districts, they pay the referendum rate. So that's part of the strategy behind doing a referendum for the police station is that it ensures all those big businesses that are in Lebanon pay their fair share to help support the police station.
All right. So I see the people on the townie chatter boards and they say there could be repairs done. It can be extended because one of your arguments was Lilly and Meta and all these people are going to come on board and it's going to reduce everybody's rate way down once they come on board.
Well, we're actually going to be at a point where we're going to be almost eliminating homeowner property taxes, which I know that you're big a fan of.
Oh, yeah.
We actually plan to be doing...
and I'm subsidizing that for you. I'm glad I could do that.
Well, you're not. Well, you're not.
Come on. What? Did the Magic Ferry acquire all that land? Did the Land Ferry get all that land where those guys are going?
When the IDC sells the land, the money is returned to the general
we're dependent upon the IDC. A finer group of men have never existed. Put them up with the founding fathers in terms of honesty and integrity. And go on.
By law, when they sell the land has to be returned. And I can assure you that they are selling the land for far more than it was purchased for in the first place.
Okay, so you're totally on board with the IEDC. I know you love the IEDC.
I'm not totally...
That'd be great for you guys.
I have had many discussions with the IEDC on ways that they can improve and the way they can understand. And there was a huge learning curve for them. They're in a much better position than they were today when it comes to the LEAP district when they started. But I do think that the IDC has a purpose and Indiana has to be competitive or kids will go elsewhere. And so Indiana can't just unilaterally disarm when it comes to economic development. So I'm not going to defend the IDC for everything they do, but I do think the LEAP district, certainly there is value to what they're doing here in the LEAP district.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to get off topic here, but you said we go for an hour. So
yeah.
And I'll come back to your referendum. But you see people like Andrew Ireland who get on Facebook or Twitter or whatever and go, these HB1 workers, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, you're voting for the budget that is incentivizing the HB1 workers to come here. So how can you as a lawmaker be upset about the thing that you've incentivized them to do? I just think there's no apparent strategy for the IEDC. So when you talk about like disarmament, I feel like there's just a lot of subsidy, and I don't see a lot of benefit because it seems like all the taxes keep going up. Now, maybe not for you in Lebanon because you got a great deal there in terms of money flowing in. Yeah. Again, glad I could help you out with that.
And again, I'm the mayor of Lebanon, right? It's my job to serve the people of Lebanon. So as you said before, I've done a great job, so I appreciate that. But like, again, there was a policy decision made by the legislature with the LEAP district to how does Indiana compete on a national and international level. I think we've seen other states of this type of investment, and Indiana wanted to make sure that kids and families have opportunities here in Indiana as well.
The spin. You should go into media when you get out of politics.
It's not spin; it's the truth, Rob.
Oh, come on! We're putting $1 billion into this stuff. The Three Kings article, where these guys are just helping their buddies and helping themselves.
And I agree. And that the Three Kings article, right? Again, that raised a lot of red flags. And again, if I was in a state level position, I would have concerns about that as well too. However, that had nothing to do with what the LEAP district is. And I agree, these kind of smaller efforts.
It's like saying Gacy was a clown and helped sick kids. It didn't have anything to do with what he was doing in the basement. It's the same group.
We got into this before. I think they are two very separate issues. You can have good ideas that have value. You can also have bad ideas that don't have value. And from a government perspective, we should eliminate the bad ideas, but embrace the good ideas and push those forward.
So am I wrong when I say there shouldn't be referendums?
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be some type of mechanism where the local community can have a say. And there needs to be, and it needs to be.
Have a say though when they put it into the Constitution? Wasn't that the say? Like, I feel like we just act like that didn't happen.
With the tax caps, were that in the say?
I mean, it's pretty strong, right, to say.
I think Indiana is a very diverse place, right? And I think there are different community needs, every community is different. And I think that's the part of the issues. You always talk about having local, how does our community feel like a community? And I think at some level there has to be a way for those communities to make those local decisions. And so certainly the tax caps is an important piece of it. But again, as we mentioned, Lebanon's not the tax caps, but we still need a referendum to have the process to go about building the project. So again, I think you can have referendums and tax caps. I think you're tying them together, which they aren't necessarily always tied together.
Matt Gentry is our guest. He's the mayor of Lebanon. Okay, what's the community's response been to the referendum?
Well, I have had a lot of personal feedback, individual conversations. People acknowledge that there is a need for a police station. There are a lot of questions, certainly, and social media is exposing a lot of those things. I'm doing my best to answer all those questions. You're
very engaging.
I try, yeah, and then that's part of my job.
You're overly engaging.
Probably so. My wife would agree with you.
I see you post stuff or engage in stuff, and people I get more comments about you than anyone else. I'm like, what am I supposed to do about this? I feel like I do. To probably credit, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like you overly engage.
Well, and because I want to have an honest conversation. I want to actually people to dive into the issues. And this wasn't something we're trying to sneak through. And I try to explain why we're doing it this year and not doing it next year. Try to explain why the need is now. I mean, I think it's in my job as a local official to justify the need, right? And explain that to people and explain why, it's amazing when you post something on social media. It's amazing how many architects and engineers we have in town, and so, it's not like this happened overnight. We started this process starting to kind of get our hands around the topic back in 2024, right? So this is not an overnight thing. This has been a process. We have done our due diligence. We have been preparing for it. We've been trying to understand what the best solution is. The timeline of the referendum got moved up a little bit, but it doesn't change the overall challenge that we have. And we know that we have a need. And I think it's my job to essentially communicate that community.
Are you going to use public resources to sell the referendum?
No.
That's good. Because that's one of my major issues with the school referendums is they hired a consultants and the literature and all this
and as I mentioned in our last time we talked, I disagree with that as well too. I mean, I certainly will use my Facebook channels to share information. We'll have a website, on the city website to explain that to the community, right? But no, we're not going to have consultants run the campaign, so to speak. But
what's the pushback? I mean, other than people like me who are just against referendums. I
mean, I think there's a little bit of a Gentry derangement syndrome some people have in Lebanon. And because I'm the one talking about it, it's automatically a bad idea. So there's some of that.
That if somebody else had done it, more people would be for it?
I've had people say that directly to city staff, that it's
really?
like, well, I agree they need a police station, but since Matt proposed it, then I need to be up against it. Oh, that's literally direct quotes to
Does
police.
that bother you?
No, I mean,
because you do think it's good public policy, and that's impeding on your ability to get public policy.
It's part of the conversation. It's fine. And like I said, I get it. Like whenever you're, as a mayor, like I said, we've talked about this before too. Like you can either be a status quo mayor, right? Go to the ribbon cuttings, kiss the babies, make sure everybody's happy. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. You can be those types of mayor, or you can be a mayor that drives transformational change that will make a community better for the long run. And that's the type of mayor I try to be, because I do think Lebanon's best days are ahead of it, and I think I keep trying to push that forward.
Am I wrong? Well, I want to save that for a little bit because I want to talk about land use, right? And I'm an old timer, right? I'm an old soul, and
I'm familiar with your nostalgia. Yep.
So. Okay, I see a lot of people say on the various forum boards, and I try to cut through who just hates you and who's being valid. They say there are a bunch of repairs that can be done that are a fraction of the cost of what you're asking for the new police station, and it will sustain the department in terms of the physical building for years to come. Are they wrong?
They are. So when, again, mentioned the building was built in 1962. And so when it was kind of retrofitted, modified into our current police station in 2004. In 2004, when we had, when that became the police station, we had 25 to 26 officers. Today, we have 46 officers. So we have been maxed out on size-wise for quite some time. So this has been, again, when I was elected mayor in 2015, I did my transition with all the current department heads. I spoke with the police chief at that time, again, previous police chief, and he said, this needs to be on your radar. Something that we are already growing at the seams. We are out of space. I mean, we're literally storing documents and case files in places they shouldn't be stored, right? Up above a garage bay, in our armory.
We're going to be like Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Are you going to be in...
Well, it's all, we do inventories and it's all secure. So, I mean, we have chain of custody. We're maintaining that. But it's not a pretty situation right now. Again, and I invite you to come tour it. Happy to come show you. We'll be having open houses for the community to come see it, but it's at a point where
I think I'm the wrong guy to try the sob story on government.
I'm not trying to give you a sob story. I would invite you if I didn't think it was justified.
Yeah, no, I think you think it's just. I think it's more just a philosophical thing where I just feel like this referendum stuff has been so abused, and people keep getting asked to pay more and more and more, and yet then the question becomes, and it's. You're just the victim of the day, right? I think it's a bigger problem across the state, right? And there are probably some issues that are better than others, but it just seems like everybody said, well, screw it. That tax cap thing's an idea. It's a suggestion, and every school district's doing it, or not every school district, but all these school districts are doing it. It's all this ridiculous stuff, and it's never going to end.
Well, there's been some pretty fundamental and transformational decisions made of how SEA 1 impacts communities, right?
They were doing it before SEA 1. They're using that as an excuse.
And that's fair. And I think you're right. But again, I think that's part of why every community is different. And I think we have to have those discussions, and it has to be part of us to have the public understand of why we're doing this. Because again, Lebanon's never done a controlled project before. This would be the largest project we've ever done as a city. And I think it's important for us to show the community of why it is justified. And frankly, painting things with a broad brush, I know that's an easy thing to do, but this is a unique situation for Lebanon that, again, our community has to make a decision on.
What would you do if it failed? See, this is okay. When our referendum failed in Brownsburg, my point was, and it was a winning, ultimately proved to be the point, is you can do this way and you'll be fine. Now, they were doing things like little kids could be at risk in the hall, right? Mm-hmm. And it was gross. What would you do if it failed?
I mean, one, we'd have to wait until 2028 to do a referendum again for it, which will not be, I will no longer be the mayor at that point, so that'll be someone else's decision.
Should you be allowed to come back? That's another thing that really makes me mad is if I got to spend all the effort to beat you and then I beat you, you're like, I'll just do it again in 2 years.
No, I think you need to hear from the public, right? So I think you need to try to make a good argument and help people understand it. But, losing your job because a referendum is not adopted.
I think that should be the deal.
That's a little aggressive.
If you're a mayor, if you're a superintendent, you put the referendum up, it fails, you out, and you can't. It's like a suspension in baseball. You can't come back for 4 years. You can't just go to another school district. You're out.
Well, I mean, now you can't do a referendum until the next even number year anyway,
2 years.
right? So 2 years. So
right.
I mean, but again, if it failed, we would have to continue to put, we'd have to sink money into a building that's failing, right? So we'd have to start repairing the roof. We start repairing all of the internal guts of the building, the mechanicals, right? And so we're investing more and more taxpayer dollars into a facility that's not meeting our needs today, won't meet it in the future. So again, I think that's a bad use of taxpayer dollars, is to continue investing in an asset that's declining and frankly isn't serving our needs today.
Will it pass?
We'll see.
Well, that's not very confident.
I mean,
I expect you to spin me. Oh, yeah.
No. I hope so. Again, we're at the very early part of this process. Again, we're pushing out as much information as possible to the community.
Are you gonna go knock on doors?
I don't know. We'll see. It depends on how it goes. Depends on how the feedback is. I think my job is to make sure the information is out there, make sure that people can make an informed decision. Certainly, we'll be hosting open houses. People can see it for themselves and see their own, see it for their own self, and make a decision based on what they think is best.
It's one of the things I like about you. You don't care. I mean, I feel like you care, but I'm saying, like, you don't.
I've always taken the approach that I'm going to do what is best, I think, for Lebanon, and so I sleep just fine at night because everything I do, I feel like I'm doing for the right reasons and for the right causes, and I'm not afraid of a discussion or of a fight, and I think it's about how do we make Lebanon better every single day.
People, I'm not kidding. I get more complaints about you than any other politician, and I'm like, look, this guy can only do what he does in Lebanon. How about the state guys that are harming all of us?
GDS. Yep, GDS. Yep.
How about some of these state guys that are doing serious harm?
Well, and that's the difference. I mean, and that's the difference between being a state official, right, versus being a local official. And you get this, right? As a local official, you are actually on the ground in the trenches, trying to make your community better every single day, right? And it's very easy to have those discussions. They can get personal, right? Because whenever I'm in town, I'm always the mayor, right? Whether I'm at the grocery store, or whether I'm at a Little League game, at Cub Scouts, like I'm always the mayor.
Because when I was elected, I didn't have a kid when I was elected.
No, that's the job.
I would feel much different about it now.
That's part of, frankly, that's probably why I'm not running again, right? I mean, my kids are getting older. They're more understanding of what it is. We were talking about the parade earlier. And there are jerks today, right? And it's my wife kind of has to totally turn off social media sometimes because it gets, I get accused of being corrupt every single day, right? And I'm like, call the FBI, because I'm not. To your defense, I said he's not corrupt. I said he's just wrong on a bunch of things, but he's not corrupt. Thank you, appreciate that.
But I wonder how you deal with that, because like you never see my kid on social media.
Yeah.
There's no pictures that exist. My wife doesn't do social media either.
Right.
So they don't have to deal with any blowback of being my family, but you're the mayor.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. And that is a part of the job that is not great. But again, I do the job because, again, I think I'm making a difference in my community and making it a better place to live for my kids. And so it is a fight I'm willing to have. I've gotten thick skin over the last 10 and a half years. And I've got, about a year and a half left. I'm going to keep pushing to the end.
All right. Do you have time to fight with me about the Indy Star article?
Anytime. Let's
Perfect.
go.
All right. Matt Gentry is our guest, the mayor of Lebanon. Do you listen to yourself when you're on the podcast? Do you go back and listen?
I'll just listen to the one time through. Yeah.
You don't like over and over and over again?
Not over and over again. No, I'm not a narcissist.
Oh, I'm glad you're not in my house. Okay, so there was an Indy Star article that came out that basically said they interviewed people around the Leap District, and they said they seemed like very honest people. I knew that some of them, they seemed like honest brokers. They basically said their lives are being destroyed with the noise, the dirt, the lights, the Leap District development. Do they have a case?
I will certainly acknowledge that there have been impacts from the construction. I will say, though, that construction is never fun, right? And also, I would say when you covered the topic, you kind of forgot about the whole part where we actually have rules about construction, and all the rules are being followed. And I
think I touched on it, but I said it's after it's done, right?
No. We have rules that are happen while construction is occurring. Certainly the LEAP PUD has rules about lighting, things like that. After construction is done, yes, absolutely. And it has the dark skies requirements and all those types of things. But we also have city code as well that mandates and regulates while construction is happening. You can't operate within 500 feet of a residence during nighttime hours. Again, this is not happening, right? This is they are following all of the rules to the T. Now, are there more discussions that we need to have that this should be, is this a unique scenario? Certainly. I mean, it's a 1,500 acre construction site. That's a big number, right? There's a lot of trucks that go in and out of there every single day, right? There are things that we are working.
You've got police officers that have had to be stationed there. The truck issue is so bad. That's a big deal.
But I mean, there are impacts. It's a state highway, though. Also, I mean, these people live just off of a state highway. They're within 3 miles of a major interstate. I mean, again, there's a little bit of a disconnect. Again, and I know this very well, but it's personal for me, right? My parents live on 600 West, right? A lot of people that are upset are on 500 West, so they're a mile away from my parents. So, I mean, my parents can see the lights when they have a kind of a cloudy night too, and the lights reflect off the clouds. Yeah, you can see the lights from my parents' backyard too. So it's some of it though is how do you manage it, right? And how do you comprehend and work through those processes? And I think fortunately, some people are just letting it take over their entire lives. And I think there are ways.
Not. They can't open their windows. It has to take over.
But they couldn't open their windows either when it was harvest time when it was corn or soybean field harvest time either, right? Or when they're spraying the pesticides and the herbicides on the fields. I mean, this is not some idyllic forest out here, right? This is
Facebook is not feeding a nation here, right? I mean,
and neither is those cornfields that are becoming high fructose corn syrup, or they're becoming bioethanol and all those types of things either too. So like let's tamp down some of the hyperbole.
But I went through something similar to this when the school was going to build a road in my neighbor's backyard across the street. They didn't tell anybody for years. They admitted in a public hearing, which we had to force all of it out of them. They'd been planning this for years. They never knocked on anybody's door. You wake up one day, you get a notice. We go and beat them in round one. They come back with an army of attorneys. Then they figure out, well, if we just give on one or two things, then we can ice these guys out of the public hearing. And then it's a year and a half of this giant road being built in people's backyards, which totally disrupts their way of life. All the dirt gets dropped onto everybody, including my house on the other side of the street. They don't give a damn about that. The cars, all the kids can't park in a parking lot. So now they're parking on our street, in my yard in some cases. And it's not even the roads that have even built in my backyard. It seems like government, when they want something, they're like, well, we're just going to do it. Oh, it screws up a few people's existence. Oh, well, them's the breaks. It just seems like that with these people.
I think at the end of the day, there are property rights, right? And the property owner that owned the land chose to sell. And so at some level, and then the zoning permitted what they're allowed to build, and all the rules are being followed. And so at some level, I understand, I empathize, right? But also,
you don't seem very empathetic.
No, I do. I mean, I
seem like, well, you can open your window.
No, but that's part of, obviously Lebanon is changing, right? And there are, we have had, I don't know your situation in Brownsburg, right? But we've had public meetings about this for close to 4 years now.
Well, they
right?
didn't have any public meetings with the one.
Within a month of me being told by the Secretary of Commerce and the governor, the public was being told, right? So this isn't something that got snuck through. These have been done at all of our public meetings, all of our open houses. This has been a topic of conversation in Lebanon for 4 years. So the fact that this wasn't this was a surprise to anyone should not have been a surprise. Construction is never fun. I will admit that. And the city frankly has been very aggressive in working with the contractors to say, that's not following the rules. You need to improve it. And they have been receptive, and they've been changing those. They've been making modifications to make it better.
And they have direct. In that article, like, are they over exaggerating? It sounds like a heinous existence they're living.
There's some over exaggeration, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I know, and it underplays, I think, a lot of the conversations and improvements that have been made throughout this process as well too. Meta has been very forward of trying to address those concerns, work with them, but also, one of the homeowners, their family, they were offered to buy their land, and the owner said no. And so at some level, some of this is, again, my parents moved out on 600 West in 2006. And they said, they asked the realtor, well, how long before the city's out here, right? And they said, well, you probably got about 10 years. So anybody that's moved in that area in the last 10 years, it's been 20 years since that's actually developed now, but it was always going to change. Again, you're on a state highway, you're within several miles of interstate. expecting that to be corn and soybean fields forever was you just weren't going to be honest with yourself.
Other than the money, how does it make Lebanon better?
Provides opportunity for future kids and future families and current families.
And Lily?
Well, there's 300 jobs that Meta will have when they're open.
They're going to Lebanon people?
They're implementing the training center right now with Meta's American Workforce Training Center.
But I'm saying, like, the people that are there, like, what are the odds it's going to go to, like, Lebanon people?
I mean, I know Lily's percentage of Boone County employees has more than doubled in the last year.
Like
so they are
two? That's like what?
No, it's several hundred to several hundred. So no, they are working on hiring local, and part of we're also working try to develop a training center that also will then provide those direct pipelines for people that locally can attain these jobs and fill these opportunities. But some of it too is, I mean, they're investing in our schools already. Lily's been very supportive of STEM programming in our schools to provide kids and show that there's a pathway for this. We really are trying to ensure that these opportunities are some things that people can be attained locally by local people as well.
Because I think about growth in the sense of the place I grew up was good enough. Mm-hmm. The thing that it was good enough the way it was. It was good enough for the people who lived there. And the growth, sometimes it just seems like there's a lot of growth without a point to the growth. Like, we're putting this high density housing development, and I'm not saying that you guys are doing that. You're doing another type of development I have objection over. But it seems like we are losing the identity of communities that sustain people, and they were the reason that people wanted to live there. And a big portion of that was, yes, there was a city or urban portion. That urban's probably a strong description, but you get what I'm saying. There was but then there was also this large track of beautiful ground around it that you weren't that far from rural America. You weren't that far from the country. And that was part of what defined a community. I feel like that's all gone away. And I don't feel like many people that move to these places now have any attraction or any semblance of wanting to be a part of that, and we've lost the identity of a lot of these communities. Fair?
Yeah, I think it can be fair, but I think that's a reflection of the local leadership, right? Because I think it's an important job for local leaders to ensure that you keep what makes a place special is not that it's preserved under a bottle, right? Because I think, some of your mentality of, let's put this under a time capsule and nothing ever can change. Let's put this ship in a bottle and the same diner will always continue running and it'll never go away. That's not real life, right? The only thing constant in life is change, right? So it's a matter about how do you manage that change to ensure that you keep what makes your community special. And for Lebanon, that's our beautiful parks. That's our historic downtown square.
Parks. Here we go with the parks.
That's
you park people.
Well, people like parks, Rob. Sorry. But those are things that bring people together, right? And brings that community together. And I think that's something that you have as a community grows and changes. And frankly, Lebanon, because we have not grown as fast as other places like Brownsburg or Avon or Westfield or whatever, right? We're able to take the good experiences, the bad experiences, and apply them to ensure that we don't lose what makes us special in Lebanon. So I understand what you're saying, but you can't just kind of close the doors on a community and say nothing's ever going to change, because kids will move away for different opportunities. People will move away for better jobs. They'll move away for pick your number of reasons. And, and certainly whenever you have a situation, go ask the 70 some counties in Indiana have declining populations. When you have a declining population, costs for cities, as you know, don't go down, right? Police officers want to be paid more. Firefighters always want to be paid more.
They don't go down because of the parks. You park people.
Park chemicals cost more every year too, right? So when you have a declining population and increasing costs, what happens to tax rates?
Yeah, they go up.
They have to go up, right? So that's and that becomes a death spiral for a community, is losing population. So again, trying to freeze things in the amber and keep it the same, that's just not a real. It's not a realistic opinion. And so, again, I understand the nostalgia. I understand, you like that. But, you have to have some level of vibrancy and an ability for a community to reinvent itself as well.
I tell people all the time, I can't break him. I've tried. There's few people I can't break. You're one of them.
When I just tell the truth, Rob, I believe what I say.
No, I think you could pass a lie detector test. I totally think so. I think you're wrong, but I think you believe yourself.
We can disagree on an issue, right? But I think you have to. I think obviously being in the position of mayor, in my previous experience working the state and around the state for campaigns, you can see what communities are doing well and what they're not, right? And I think as my position, I try to steal the best ideas, right? And I try to, there's no rules against plagiarism in city governance. And so,
great form of flattery.
Exactly. And so my goal is to make Lebanon the best version of Lebanon. I'm not trying to make anything else. I'm trying to make it the best version of Lebanon. And I do that by going out and understanding what other communities are doing and leveraging that to make Lebanon an even better place for my kids and their kids.
Well, I'm excited for the next round when you pop up in the Star and I complain about you, and then you send me a text bitching about what I just did. I
just want you to get the facts right, Rob. I think it's the biggest thing for me, and I want you to make sure you include the whole perspective on everything.
Are you going to run for something else, or are you done?
I plan to get out.
You're out like altogether? Or are you going to be like Al Pacino in The Godfather 3 and I have to pull me back in?
I like I said, I have been doing this, be doing this for 12 years by the time I'm done. I think I'm ready for a little bit of just enjoy my life of time with my kids and do what I want to do and not have to worry about meetings and public engagement, all those types of things.
Nice shirts, though. I like those.
Yeah.
I kind of miss. That's one thing I miss about being in local government is like the
you got to rep the brand, Rob.
Yeah,
you got to rep the brand.
Matt Gentry, the mayor of Lebanon. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Yeah, we'll take it back. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Indiana news, politics, and government. You're not going to get anywhere else. Hey, look, here's the deal. I know every time Gentry's on, people get fired up. And I will say this about Gentry. I wish more politicians were like him from the standpoint that he is always willing to come in and answer the questions. And I know a lot of people get upset with the stuff he says. I'm there with you on some of it. However, there are very few people like him who would sit there for 30 minutes, 35 minutes, whatever it was, and go back and forth. And we should applaud that. If you want to dislike what he says, no problem. I'm there with you on a bunch of it. But the guy does come in and answer the questions. And I think you guys know, we've seen this over the years. There's not a lot of politicians that are willing to do that. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens with that police referendum. Because up until now, pre-Senate Bill 1, it's largely been the school corporations that have delved into the referendum game. And I think we're going to enter a new frontier. Look, I'll just be very candid with you. One of the reasons I want that referendum to fail is I feel like if it passes, you'll start seeing a lot of other people do them. Bad government, it spreads like the plague. And so it'll be interesting to see if that one passes, because if it does, I think you're going to start seeing referendums outside of school corporations, other places. Speaking of referendums, let's talk about here in just a moment. J.D. Prescott had another meeting last night about this bill where he's trying to abolish property taxes. That he wants to abolish property taxes. Now, there's a whole bunch of problems with this bill, and I want to get into it here in a minute. But before we do that, Hey, it is Tuesday. That means you got to be making plans for lunch the rest of the week. That's where our friends at Double D's come in. Double D's Southern Barbecue in Clayton, right there at 40 and 39. They do authentic, wood-smoked, Memphis-style barbecue. Every single one of you guys who have been out there have had nothing but great things to say. The food is awesome. The atmosphere is great. The service is excellent. Try it out. They're open Wednesday through Saturday. Specials each day. Of course, Wednesday is Jumbo Wing Day. Thursday, Loaded Baked Potato Day. Friday, Saturday, Mississippi farm-raised catfish. But even if you're not in on the specials, whatever you got there, you can't go wrong. Ribs, brisket, and more. They've been the winner of the best ribs and the best sauce at Ribfest in Hendricks County. They take their barbecue very serious. Double D's, Southern Barbecue. Make your plan to get out there this week. Right there on 40 by 39. In Clayton, a little bit of a drive, totally worth the trip. Ribs, brisket, and more. Get the full menu. DDBBQ317.com. DDBBQ317.com. Okay, so J.D. Prescott had another one of these town hall type meetings last night. I believe this was in Pike. And he is trying to sell his plan to get rid of property taxes. And our old pal Indy reporter went. He did a big write-up at Indy_reporter_ on Twitter. He covers all the local government stuff about the meeting, and he filmed the meeting and put it up. And it's a disaster. Like, I did it. It was half joking. It was half serious. He posted that recap of the meeting, and I think the like a visual aid they handed out from the meeting, and I just responded something to the effect of, "Look at what they have done to my poor sweet dream." Look at what has become of Rob Kendall's dream to get rid of property taxes. This bill's a disaster. And Senate Bill 1 last year was a disaster. And everything these guys keep doing keeps making it worse. And the reason they can't make it better is actually quite simple. Property taxes are very complicated. They've created a system that's very complicated, they being the lawmakers. The reason they can't make it better is actually quite simple. They refuse to acknowledge local governments are out of control and need less money. They won't say it. They all think it, or many of them think it, but they won't say it. The whole premise of tax caps 18 years ago, put into the Constitution 16 years ago of our state, was that local governments were out of control. Like, we refuse to have that as the opening salvo of this conversation. And until we do, no plan is going to make it better. I've been a local government official. I've been a local elected person. They were out of control then, and I'm sure it's infinitely worse now. We refuse to say it. They refuse to say it. We say it. They refuse to say it because they're scared to death it'll cost them an election. And you can't fix the system as long as you accept the premise that local governments don't have enough money. You'll never fix it. Remember, if you want to go way back in the time machine, the only reason we got tax caps was because Mitch Daniels really wanted local government reform. Mitch Daniels really wanted the reforms laid out in the Kernan-Shepard report. I know I've mentioned this before, but we have new people in all the time. Mitch Daniels, early on in his first term, commissioned Joe Kernan, former governor of Indiana, who he defeated in the election, and Randall Shepard, the Republican Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, to work together, form a committee, and produce a document on how to reform local government. So you had a Democrat and a Republican taking the politics out of it and saying, here's what doesn't work. And if we do these things, many of them quite simple, we'll be able to dramatically cut cost, increase efficiency, all of these things. We're 20 years on this and none of it's been done, basically. Property tax caps were Mitch Daniels' way of getting local government reform, getting what local government reform he could. He couldn't get the Kernan Shepherd stuff, so he said, I'll take the tax caps, and hopefully it'll starve the beast by default. Now, the major mistake they made were the referendums. And then obviously we enter in a world now where the assessments are totally out of control. Local governments are out of control. But they won't say it, they being the legislators. So everything they do centers around ways to not cost local governments money. Screw them. The way they've screwed you, they have too much money. I've been there. And so when a guy like J.D. Prescott goes out and goes, I want to eliminate property taxes, when you look at what's next, it's actually worse because he's operating from the standpoint, I can't hurt local governments. I can't cost them money. Look, when you have governments that are funding, like municipal governments, as in cities, that are funding hockey arenas and basketball arenas and reflexive pools and hotels and palladiums, they have too much money. That's too much. That's not a bridge. It's not a sidewalk. It's not a road. It's not a police officer. It's not a fireman. It's not a water. It's not a sewer. It's okay for us to say that's not the job of the government. But we won't. And until we do, we're not going to fix the issue. I mean, obviously, look at the schools. Look at all the stuff that the referendums go to there. So Michael Hicks, who I have often disagreed with over the years, took Prescott to task in a new column for the Indy Star. Michael Hicks is a Ball State economist. And I'm going to read you part of what he wrote about Prescott's plan, because Prescott's plan actually raises taxes. And one of the things that was interesting last night, and you can go read the full report if you want when we're done here today over at Indy Reporter's account. And I told him this a year and a half ago now. I met with Prescott in his office about all the things he wasn't thinking about, wasn't thinking through. Prescott's plan will raise taxes in the end dramatically. It will be a massive tax cut for the rich, and it will put the taxes on the backs of the folks. Because while the property taxes get eliminated, and I'll do some math here, or Hicks does some math here in his column that I want to read to you, it creates this new 7% sales tax on services. And ultimately, the revenue that is going to be generated, the taxes that are going to be generated, will rise by about $4 billion by some estimates. Here's what Hicks wrote, and maybe tomorrow we'll get into a little bit of what Prescott says in this presentation. Hicks writes, quote, my back-of-the-envelope math, which is light years more sophisticated than the current plan, is that the sales tax on services will cost the average Hoosier about $1,627 per year, or about $3,743 per family. That is equivalent to the property taxes on a home of close to $450,000 a year, which is about double the median home value in Indiana. Yeah, that's a crusher for me. My taxes will go up under Prescott's plan. Yeah, I don't pay property tax anymore, but my overall tax burden is going to go up. So why would I want this? Again, the premise of getting rid of property taxes for me, which thousands and thousands of you rallied behind from 2024 to 2025, is our homes are not government's personal piggy bank. And they shouldn't be able to be used as such. If we just transfer government's personal piggy bank to some other facet of our economy, it doesn't make it any better. Like, the tax doesn't get better because you take it from somewhere else. I mean, I would see my tax burden not quite double probably, but pretty close. Oh, so I don't pay it on my mortgage anymore. Does that make me feel better about it? Hicks goes on to write, businesses will see a windfall, particularly data centers and large manufacturing firms. Now, Prescott's trying to say, and we'll get into this a little bit more tomorrow, that he's going to do some stuff about the data centers. I don't believe him. Older folks who own homes and earn less income because they're retired will also get a windfall tax cut. And farmers will see their tax liability drop well below zero because they're already getting subsidies that are greater than their gross state and federal tax. That's right. And don't forget, J.D. Prescott's family are farming people. How much will his family get as a tax cut as a result of this? Probably a lot more than us. The big winners in the elimination of property tax, because my thing on property taxes was homeowners. I didn't say anything about business owners. Why? Because businesses already get massive tax breaks and subsidies from the government. And they're there to make money. That's the big one. The businesses are utilizing the government to make money. When we're talking about homesteads or personal homes, we're talking about where you live. The idea of the property tax bill was that you can't leverage someone's ability to live against them, which is what we do with property taxes. Prescott wants to create this giant giveaway to mega corporations, which was never the intent. I told Prescott a year and a half ago, I said, you need to continue to force businesses to pay property tax. If you're using your land to make money, then you pay taxes on it. If you're using your land outside of it, so essentially anything outside of a homestead credit where you live, then you should not be exempt from paying taxes. Why would we do that? Unless, just like what Senate Bill 1 became, it's a mega giveaway to corporations, big corporations, which is who would win big time. Because, yeah, Lilly uses services, but a lot of the people who do the services are their employees. And if they're getting millions and millions and millions of dollars annually in property tax breaks, they're not going to make that up in services. It's a win for them. It's a loss for you. Hicks writes, continues to write, everyone else, particularly younger families with kids, will face a staggering tax increase under the plan now being promoted by Prescott and the state GOP. This is far and away the worst tax proposal I've ever seen emerge from a political party platform. It represents the biggest transfer of tax burden away from the businesses and wealthy families to young and working families in any U.S. state since the Civil War and probably before that. He writes, the mere existence of this plan is scandalous and would give Indiana the most regressive state tax system in the developed world by a long margin. It should be entirely disavowed by Election Day. The idea of the government not owning your home is not bad. I'm a huge supporter of that. The idea that governments should do with less is not bad. I support that. This bill that Prescott is presenting, and I'll go into a little bit of it in more detail tomorrow, is not that. The whole premise of property tax reform came out of the assessments are out of control. People can't keep up. The government shouldn't have a forever lien on your home. We aren't addressing any of that. Other than, yeah, okay, we're getting you out of the government having forever lien on your home, but the government then is just taking more from you. Like you're bribing the government. We're essentially in the Prescott bill bribing the government out of having a forever lien on your home. Why would that be good for anyone? And as everything with the GOP, it's turned into a giveaway to businesses because they'll be the winner. My sweet, beautiful dream has been destroyed. It shouldn't be this hard. And I told Prescott this a year and a half ago. I was like, you need to make the businesses pay taxes then you can reduce the sales tax on services burden dramatically in your bill. And then everybody will win. People will actually save money. People will get at the government out of having a forever lien on their home, and it will force local governments to get more accountable, which they can do. I assure you, I've been there. I can assure you, I've been there. They can get more accountable. The cops won't stop showing up. The fire guys are still going to come if you call 911, and the roads could still work. But until we operate from the premise, the starting premise, that local governments have too much, none of it, none of the ideas are ever going to work. Hey, you guys got a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. Now, All-American Dog Fence has been around for a while. They were previously called Indiana Dog Fence. Their owner, Bob Swarm, is a huge fan of our show, regularly in the YouTube chat, watches the program. The new owners, Kelly and Jeff, they're big fans of our show. They bought Indiana Dog Fence, which served people for years and years and years, and people loved them. And it's now called All-American Dog Fence. They've got 3 dogs themselves, Kelly and Jeff, the owners. And like I said, they so believed in the product, Indiana Dog Fence, they bought the business. All-American Dog Fence can beat the prices of the big guys and their customer service. They brag about that, about how much better it is. If you've been in the mood, you're thinking about it'd be just so much easier way to keep track of my furry friend, my loved one. Call or text All-American Dog Fence today at 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. Or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. allamericandogfence.com. And when you mention the Rob Kendall Show, you get $200 off your product. $200 off just by saying, heard about you on the Rob Kendall Show. What a deal. What a deal. Okay, we got a bunch of audio to get to when we come back. Ron Johnson is a U.S. Republican senator who basically claimed he doesn't know if Mitch McConnell's alive or not. We got a couple of different Trump audios. He said something about the Iran thing that just, I almost fell out of my chair. It's so much stuff to get to. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Welcome back, guys. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't done so yet, help us out. Help us grow the show. Hit the little thumbs up button. Like the program. Really helps us grow. Share the feed out. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Or YouTube. You're on YouTube. Facebook, Twitter, whatever your social media is. Let people know we're here. And we can't thank you guys enough. We're closing in on 100 episodes. The Rob Kendall Show next week will be the episode number 100. And we just can't thank you guys enough as you've allowed us, you, the fabulous, amazing audience, to cover Indiana news, politics, and government unlike anybody else. And that is all because of you. And thanks to all of our sponsors. I know we, obviously we read the messages. You see the video announcements. Whenever you can, support our sponsors. They have stood behind us. They've stood with us. They've been amazing. And without them, we wouldn't exist. So even if you don't need the services of our sponsors in the moment, never hesitate to pick up the phone, get a hold of them online. Just, hey, thanks for sponsoring the Rob Kendall Show. You'd be amazed at how much it really helps us. And these people staying with us is the reason we're able to bring you this fabulous programming every single day. Don't forget, we have a website as well. It is robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. And there you can find the live link. You can find the on-demand links of all the platforms we're on. Articles each day from your favorite segments, our favorite segments, which we hope will be your favorite segments of the Rob Kendall Show, and the support button, where if you're feeling generous for what we do each day and want to support it, support button up, robkendallshow.com. Hey, guys, found your next home but haven't sold your current one yet? One of the biggest challenges homeowners face is coordinating the sale of their current home with the purchase of their next one. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps Central Indiana families explore bridge loan and home equity solutions that may provide flexibility during the transition. Whether you're moving up or downsizing or need access to your home's equity, Gary takes the time to understand your goals and walk you through your options. Visit loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes to learn more. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. Okay, audio. In just a moment, we're going to play some of the Ron Johnson stuff. It was amazing. Ron Johnson got asked by Eric Bolling if he'd seen, like, I forget exactly the word, but basically whether seen the picture of McConnell. And anyway, I don't want to spoil it for you. But first, Trump. So Trump is on, I think it was Fox he was on. And he's trying to eulogize Lindsey Graham. And look, Trump is about the last person I would want trying to eulogize me or a loved one, because somehow it always either ends up about himself or he ends up just talking off the cuff. And look, people dying is not funny. I'm not trying to make light of it. But Trump's trying to eulogize Lindsey Graham, and he somehow launches into how bad his golf game was. Take a listen.
And he was a nice man. He was a great guy. He loved playing golf, loved being outside. He'd play golf with people, and you just liked him. It wasn't that he was a great striker of the ball. He wasn't exactly a perfect. He wasn't Jack Nicklaus. He was not Tiger, but he loved it, and he had fun. You know, he was a man who had a lot of fun. He had fun with politics, but he was really good at it. And then,
like, what is going on in the guy's mind where he's like, yeah, he was a golfer. He wasn't great. He was not the best striker of the ball, but he loved golf. He wasn't Jack or Tiger. Who is Jack or Tiger? Like, you're there saying not, and he can't help himself. He wasn't the best striker of the ball. Yeah, he was an amateur golfer. That's the key word, amateur. Like, I was rolling when I heard that. Like, what is going on in your mind? Like, you might say, oh, Lindsey, he was great. Loved playing golf with him. It was always fun. But no, in Trump's mind, he wasn't as good as me. Oh, man. Okay, so the big one, Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson, of course, the old joke on the radio show was Ron Johnson, stereo salesman. That was the name of the stereo salesman in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Ron Johnson, stereo salesman. He is actually a senator from Wisconsin, Republican, very conservative. And he went on with Eric Bolling. You guys may remember Eric Bolling. He was on Fox News for years. I think he's on News Nation now. And he got asked if he thought the Mitch McConnell photo, the photo of McConnell in the hospital, because there's all sorts of controversy about the McConnell photo now. Because there's been, to my knowledge, unless I missed something this morning, No update since that photo of McConnell was posted. And a bunch of people are saying it's fake, it's AI, it's outdated, it's an old photo. Ron Johnson, who's an active Republican senator, gets asked if he thought the McConnell photo was real, and you'll notice he doesn't say yes. Take a listen.
Mitch McConnell. Can we talk a little Mitch McConnell, too? Because I saw a picture that I'm not sure I believe is actually Mitch McConnell from the hospital after what I've heard and what I've seen. Do you believe Mitch McConnell is the one who said, I'm okay, here's the picture of my wife, Elaine Chao, and I in that hospital bed?
Well, I just heard from some other source that was an older photo. So I really don't know. I haven't talked to Mitch. I certainly wish he and his family well. I hope he can recover. It's sad to watch people age, no matter who that person is. You know, I've served with Mitch McConnell for 16 years. Okay, obviously I disagree with him on a host of things, but I also know he loves this country. He loves the Senate. He reveres the Senate. And so again, I do try and put the best construction on things. I try and look for the best in people. Mitch McConnell also loves this country, so I wish him well. I hope he recovers. I hope he can come back and contribute and vote with the president's agenda.
What are we doing here? That's a U.S. senator from McConnell's own party, and he doesn't know if McConnell's alive or not. What are we doing? How are we? Okay, the photo of Mitch McConnell, he's fully clothed, right? He's not in a hospital gown. He's not in his PJs. He's not hooked up to stuff. He says in the statement he's in physical rehab or whatever. Clearly, he can accept a visitor. His wife is sitting right next to him. He's sitting up smiling. How are we not at this point a group of U.S. senators just walking over in mass to the hospital where he's at, going, we demand to see Mitch McConnell? Put up or shut up. Look, if I'm the governor of Kentucky, I'm doing that. I'm flying there. And I'm telling people, if I can't see the dude, I'm pronouncing him dead and calling a special election. I mean, I'm not being facetious when I say this. If I'm the governor of Kentucky, you have a right to know whether the guy's alive or not. Like, as in proof to you. Because you would have responsibilities if he's not. This is ridiculous. That guy's in McConnell's own party. He's a sitting senator. He's served with him for years, and he can't tell you with a straight face the guy's alive. Why are you not walking over there? Okay, let's go. Like, I will even at this point accept if 5 U.S. senators, one of them being Rand Paul, is allowed in to see Mitch McConnell and can verify to me he's alive. But there's no imperative nature about Ron Johnson going, and I demand to know. I want to know. Like, what are we doing? Why is this okay? Why is this acceptable behavior? But it is, because nobody's doing anything about it. You're a United States senator. You don't know for sure if one of your colleagues is alive, and you're just like, well, Tim's the brakes. All right, Trump. So, according to The Hill and numerous other sources, Trump notified Congress on Friday the U.S. is back at war with Iran. Iran kept firing on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. They were firing at allies, at allies in the Middle East. And America said enough. Trump said enough. And effectively what Trump notifying Congress does is it resets the war powers clock. And that is the time frame by which the U.S. the president would need to seek approval from the U.S. Congress. So we're going to go through this for another 60 days. Trump can renew it for another 30 days on top of that. So it's another 90 days before the Congress will have a say. And they let him get away with it. The Congress let him get away with this. We've been at war with Iran for 5 months. And they let him get away with it. Well, there was a pause. So it doesn't count. Home base. Can't touch me. And now he's doing it again. And they're going to let him get away with it again. That's ridiculous. I'm a person who accepts the president has a period of time to act as the commander-in-chief without express approval of the United States Congress. We've long blown past that. I'm not a person who every time a plane drops bombs that you're like, illegitimate war. He didn't get it from the Congress. That's not how it works. But we are past the time where the president needs to seek the approval of the Congress, and now he's manipulating the system. He got asked how long he thought the war was going to take. Here's what he had to say.
President, just on Iran, you have said now to Congress that we are back at war. How long do you expect this to take? And what's the legal basis?
Take what? Take what?
The war.
Well, I think it's going very fast. We've demolished their military. We're hitting them very hard. We had a deal yesterday or the day before yesterday. It was all done. And then they broke up that deal immediately because they found out there was something in the deal they didn't like. And they're wired differently, and we're not going to put up with it. We are just going forward. We're attacking them tonight. We're taking out all of their capability for anything having to do with the Strait, with the Hormuz Strait. And I think in the end, we will end up just controlling the whole thing. And what they're doing is being very foolish, very stupid, and they've treated people horribly. They've killed.
Okay. Look, I don't care how many times you voted for Trump. For me, it's 3. You should be outraged by that. We've heard this same story for 5 months now. It's over. They're being obliterated. There's no chance. They're done. They're being very foolish. No, it appears they're being very smart because they're still going and they're disrupting the entire world economy, which is always their goal. Your administration, Mr. President, let these people rearm and reload and reset for several months while you messed around with these negotiations that went nowhere. And everybody knew they weren't going to go anywhere. And now that they've gone nowhere, now you're right back to doing the thing you were doing before. I thought we obliterated them last fall. I thought that was the point of dropping the bombs then. I thought we obliterated them in March. I thought that was the point of going in. Now, how much obliteration is there before we could just take the thing over and stop with the insanity with the Strait of Hormuz? When does that happen? Because as we told you in the very first segment we ever did on this show, you have 2 options. Either ignore them and accept that they're going to be out there causing all sorts of damage, try to hem them in economically where you can, work with your allies, and just accept that they're the world's largest state sponsor of terror and they want us dead and they'll do what they can. Or you blow them to smithereens and you take it over. 2 choices. And what are we at now? 5 months later, that's what I guess he's decided to do, except he's not actually doing it. Targeted strikes are not going to stop these people. Hands-off, high-level military engagement, not going to stop these people. If you want them stopped, you take them out. Like, we keep saying the same thing. Then he said the one that really pissed me off. He got asked by Hugh Hewitt, who's a conservative commentator, about this MOU. Remember the big thing a couple weeks ago? We've signed the MOU. There's understanding. People were outraged. They were like, we're giving all this money to Iran. Why are we doing this? This is way worse than the deal Obama had. And then they're like, no, it's better. It's so much better. And everybody's like, they never stand by their agreements anyway. Why are you doing this? No, we have faith. This time, they know it. And so he was all in on this MOU. Except now that it's blown up in his face because Iran lied like they always lie about everything. Now he's trying to downplay the MOU that he spent months giving Iran a free pass. Remember, that was the ceasefire. Back to business as usual while they were working on this MOU. Months. And for him to act now like it was no big deal and they were never going to go through with it is insulting to every American who has been forced to pay more at the pump, more for gas, higher inflation. It is infuriating. Listen.
Was the MOU that your negotiators brought back, was that a side saddle MOU? Was that built to fall apart?
It was built to test. It was a test. We didn't know. It didn't. Look, memorandum of understanding when you're dealing with sleazebags don't mean much. And they don't mean much when you're dealing with honorable people, too, because it's a memorandum of understanding. It doesn't mean much. And I said, Why are we even, it's a standard tactic in the U.S. that you go to a memorandum of understanding and then you go to the deal. I said, just go to the deal first. But you know what? It was sort of a test. And they weren't there. They didn't honor the test. We had it. We had this deal settled numerous times. I said, watch. I guarantee, watch. And they never followed it.
Was the MOU that your negotiators brought back, was that?
He caught himself in the middle of it because he forgets he's president, right? He thinks he's back to being celebrity, apprentice, commentator. I go on Oprah Trump. I don't know why. I don't know. You're the president. You did it. He caught himself. If you listened really closely, he caught himself there because he's the commander in chief. He did it. Remember, Trump did this stuff for years when Bush was president, and certainly Obama, about criticizing the foreign policy decisions in there, and he was right. Except now you're the one doing it. You don't spend months writing something up as a test while your people are hurting, sir. See, this is what's going to bite Trump in the end in the midterms. Even the Democrats being as bad as they are, they're not going to capitalize on it the way they should. Trump comes off totally indifferent to the pain regular people are feeling. He comes off totally aloof to the condition of the U.S. economy right now, and inflation and cost of living. Our lives are not some guinea pig, sir. Our lives are not some test pattern. That MOU wasn't a test anyway, but the fact that that's his excuse now, just go to the deal. You're the guy making the deal. I said, then do it. You're the commander in chief. Act like it. You are in charge. This is on you. I just hear that, and it's just like, and Hewitt just lets him get away with it. You're the president, sir. Act like it. If you didn't want an MOU, don't do an MOU. If you think they're sleazebags and you don't trust them, why did you negotiate with them? Trump is becoming everything he's criticized. Everything he spent years railing against in the one place that whatever damage was done to him, economy, whatever, people would always say he did a really good job on foreign policy. He's lost that now because he fell into the same trap all of these other presidents have with engagement in the Middle East. It always ends the same way. We don't have the guts to do the thing that needs to be done. And they know that. And so when you don't have the guts to do the thing that needs to be done, they know long term we can do whatever we want because we'll just outlast them. For him to say that, it should piss everybody off. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. Bad news for the Buc-ee's people. Well, depends on what side you're on the Buc-ee's people. We'll talk about it when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't done so yet, help us out. Hit that little thumbs up button. Like the program. That really helps us grow. And I know you're all invested, whether you're watching us live or on demand, in this program's continued growth. That's one way you can help it. Like, share, and subscribe. That's what we say. Couple of well, no, I'll save that for later. Let's tell you about our friends at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. You know, we talk about the bistro all the time. Fabulous, made-from-scratch food. They're open in Brazil, on the water. Friday for dinner, Saturday for dinner, Sunday for brunch buffet. But there's more than just the bistro. There's also the cottage. So if you're looking to make it a weekend away, out in scenic, rural, rustic Brazil on the water, oh, it's a beautiful property. The cottage would be a great place for you. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with a fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. Oh, the best part of it all, Andy, one of the owners who made I got to do this in reverse now. There it is. I should just look at. I should just look over my shoulder, idiot. Oh, God, I was trying to do it through the mirror, or through the camera, and it's all backwards now. Andy, who made an idiot. Right there. Andy, who made our fabulous sign, and one of the owners. He brings your breakfast, if you stay at the cottage, in a picnic basket, 8:30 each morning. It's the perfect weekend away. The scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. You can also, of course, get dinner or the brunch buffet at the cottage. Book by visiting their website, honeysucklehillb.com. honeysucklehillb.com. You can just, of course, Google Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Call today to get more information, 812-443-3003, 812-443-3003. Starting tomorrow, we'll give you the menu for the week, by the way, at the bistro. You know, they change the menu over every week. It's one of the things they do. You can see the full menu and more. Just Google Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Okay, update on the Buc-ee's. Of course, there's been this huge controversy in Greenwood about the Buc-ee's. And we had, of course, a guest in who laid out the concerns about the traffic, about the long-term ramifications, the zoning issues, the potential development goes around the Buc-ee's, all the stuff. And when we got done with the interview, and I saw people comment, I kind of scoured some of the towny info boards. Like, that Buc-ee's is passing. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of momentum to stop the Buc-ee's. Like, I can usually get a pretty good feel, like with the data centers in Indianapolis. Like, I started feeling that. Like, there's a real momentum swing against the data centers, and the council has responded. I didn't feel like with the Buc-ee's, yeah, there's some people that are upset. There's not outrage. And there's enough people that are really for it that the council's going to be like, let's go. Buc-ee's, right? It's too much publicity, ribbon cutting, groundbreaking. Hey, look at us. We got the Buc-ee's. We got the first Buc-ee's. And yesterday, the Greenwood Planning Commission took the first step with that. They advanced a rezone proposal by a vote of 8 in favor out of the 9 members of the commission. So 8 in favor out of the 9 members of the commission. Fox 59 with the article on this, several other news outlets covering it as well. Basically, it's a rezone. That's the first step. Right now, it's currently zoned for, I believe, agriculture and residential. They have to get it zoned. I think it's industrial. They got to get it, or commercial. They've got to get it zoned over to in order to be able to put a Buc-ee's on that property. That's the way zoning works, right? Zoning says it's zoned for these things. You can only do A, B, and C there. Oh, I want to do something different. Okay, then there's a process, which ultimately emanates, the final vote will have to come from the city council to approve the zoning change, which would allow the Buc-ee's to go there. And the planning commission overwhelmingly said yes. So the update on the Buc-ee's is if you live in Greenwood or in the greater Greenwood area, you're going to get to Buc-ee's. I mean, I would be floored with an eight-person affirmative vote on a 9-person panel that the council doesn't go along with it, given that there has not really emanated an organized opposition and there appear to be a bunch of people that are for it. The Buc-ee's is probably going through. And look, it no doubt is going to create a whole bunch of traffic there. It's no doubt going to create a whole bunch of economic activity in the area, depending on what goes around it. I think the concern becomes what is around it and how do the locals deal with something that a lot of people, it's in and off the interstate, right? The passerby people, because here's how I think the Buc-ee's works locally. People go originally out of the Novelty Act, right? They want to see the thing. They've heard about the thing. This is the first one. Let's see what it's all about. And people will travel in Indiana to the Buc-ee's. There's no doubt. I have no doubt, especially in central Indiana, there will be people from all over central Indiana in the opening weeks that will go to the Buc-ee's. And it'll be a nightmare. Sorry, Jason. It's going to be a nightmare. And then it will generate into, like the rest of them, where once you've seen it, I mean, it is what it is. It's big. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of food. But once you've been there, I don't think you're traveling on a regular basis from Carmel to the Greenwood Buc-ee's. I don't think once you've seen it, you're coming from Muncie on a weekly basis to the Greenwood Buc-ee's. That stuff will subside, but there will be a ton of people who are going to want to go, who are going to stop as they're traveling across the state of Indiana, go to that Buc-ee's, and there's going to be a lot of traffic issues. We'll see how it plays out in the long run. I think the ship has sailed. Greenwood is going to get a Buc-ee's. All right. It's 11 o'clock. We've made it to 11 o'clock. That means hour three. Hour 3 brought to you by our friend John Rust. Don't forget, John Rust, he loves this show. He loves you guys, the listeners of the Rob Kendall Show, the viewers of the Rob Kendall Show. And he's having a party on October the 3rd. You're invited. It's totally free. It's at John Rust's house. Who just opens their house to a bunch of people they don't know? John Rust does. October 3rd, Jason's birthday, and we're having a bash at John Rust's palatial estate. It's free to attend. There's going to be patriotic music, antique car show, lunch catered by Double D's. I'm going to give a speech, and a whole bunch more. All you got to do if you want to come is send an email. rustforamerica@gmail.com. rustforamerica@gmail.com. Say, hey, John, here's my name. Here's how many people are coming. Great, thanks. Jot you down. Put you down. I think he sends you some directions, too. Come join us. Come hang out with us. Come have some fun, and it's free. How about that? Lunch and cake. And cake is the big one. Lunch, you might be on the fence, and cake, the big one. But John Rust, celebration of you guys, the fabulous Rob Kendall Show audience, and he'd love for you to hang out with him and hang out with us on October the 3rd. Okay. Wanted to touch on this, and it was a piece written by Ron Paul. Ron Paul, of course, former longtime congressman, ran for president, sort of one of the godfathers of the modern-day liberty and freedom movement, very much against the government. He now has an organization called the Ron Paul Institute, and Ron Paul's got to be damn near 90 years old. He may be older than that. He's had some health issues. I think he still does some video transmissions, regular podcasting, but he also writes for the Ron Paul Institute, which makes sense. And he put a piece up about, and really the theme of it is judging our politicians by actions and not words. And it's one of the things we struggle to do in our society because so much of politics is an emotional engagement. And it's not good. It's not good that it's an emotional engagement because when something's emotional, you stop judging it logically. When something's an emotional engagement, you stop judging it logically. And with our politicians, with our government, you need to judge things logically because you need to be able to press the politicians when it's time to press them, to challenge them, to hold them accountable. That's our job as citizens. I was watching a documentary on George Washington the other day. And, of course, they're talking about a variety of things. Newt Gingrich has a foundation that put this out. I think this was several years ago. But I stumbled upon it, and I was watching it. And one of the things you realize then, unlike today, and I'm not just talking about the politicians, I'm talking about the people as a collective, was the idea of citizen engagement. Like, it wasn't something you had to beg people to do. It wasn't something you had to force people into. It was sort of built into the people of the day of the idea of citizen engagement. That whether you were a politician, elected person, or not, you were profoundly impacted by what these people did, and you needed to engage with them. We don't have that anymore. We have very little citizen engagement. Very few people in every community choose to actively participate. And one of the problems is we have started to form emotional connections for some reason with these politicians. And when you do that, you don't hold them accountable. And this is something I've run into for years, broadcasting on a station that was made up of predominantly conservative Republican people, talking about going, no, it's okay to be conservative. Republicans are not your friend. It's okay to be liberty-minded. Great, me too. But you got to look in the mirror when we talk about damage to the country, because our state is run by one group of people. And so if you're unhappy, you got to hold your side accountable. And it was it's real struggle at times to get people to say, hey, it doesn't make you a liberal because you challenge Republicans. And with Trump, unlike probably any other politician, there's such an emotional connection with Trump that it's been very hard, and it was a real struggle and remains a real struggle to get people to say, hey, words are one thing and words are great, but actions matter most, and we have to look at the actions. And Ron Paul wrote this, and when you read the actual data on it, it's hard to argue. Despite regularly denouncing the rising socialist menace, President Trump has been pursuing a policy arguably just as, if not more dangerous to liberty and prosperity as anything proposed by Zoran Mamdani or Bernie Sanders, using government funds to purchase partial ownership of private companies. Look, this is a thing that happened, I don't know if it's for the first time, but for the first time sort of on a major scale with George W. Bush. Remember when the government took over the auto industry? And we were told that was a one-off. And I remember that was very early on. I was just sort of paying attention to politics actively when that was going down. And I remember seeing that, hearing that going, that doesn't sound like a one-off thing to me. I think this is going to become the new norm because it was right before Obama came in. And I was like, if Bush is willing to do it, then certainly the quote-unquote liberal guy is going to do it. I thought Bush is the Republican here. And we have seen this more and more amped up since 2008, where the government starts taking control of or ownership in private companies, and that is bad. That is not good. Public sector, private sector, clear divide, don't mingle. Ron Paul goes on to write, the Trump administration has obtained ownership interest in approximately $27 billion in 30 companies, since January of 2025. That's Trump. 27 billion taxpayer dollars essentially have been allocated into 30 companies. Almost $1 billion a company. What do you call that? Certainly not conservatism. It's the exact sort of stuff that Mamdani and Bernie Sanders propose. If we're going to call them out, we have to hold our own side accountable. He writes, while President Trump and his defenders claim making these, quote, investments will benefit the American people, the truth is this policy will harm most Americans. The policy distorts the capital markets by incentivizing investors to support these companies because the investors believe government's ownership interest creates a de facto government guarantee of a stock's value. Bingo. We've talked about this for years. One of the reasons people hate capitalism is they believe it's rigged. One of the reasons people are moving towards socialism is the version of capitalism they have been presented is not the real version. It's a watered-down, rigged, predetermined version. And Ron Paul is right. When the government is involved, people believe, and probably rightfully so, that company, that is, the end result is now tilted in the favor of that company. For example, after the government announced it would acquire 10% ownership in chip manufacturer Intel, the company's stock price had a big increase. Ron Paul continues, when investors allocate their resources to companies because government is supporting those companies, capital is deprived to businesses that can thrive by pleasing customers instead of politicians. Right. When the government's involved, just like everything government, the need to thrive in the free market is diluted. Why is government run so inefficiently? Because it doesn't have to turn a profit. It doesn't have to make money. And when government gets involved in getting money into private sector companies, the natural inclination, the natural next step, because the government's involved is everything that government touches, which is you don't feel the need to have to produce. This reduces economic growth, harming consumers and workers. It also incentivizes other businesses to seek government investment instead of developing ways to better serve consumers. Yes. Everything now seems to be a turn to the government. Give me money. Can I have money? Please help me get money. And when you don't have to work for your money, you're not incentivized to make things happen. Ron Paul closes by saying, President Trump's policy of using government funds to invest in private companies in exchange for partial government ownership of the companies is not pure socialism. Instead, it is corporatism. Corporatism is where power remains nominally in private hands, but the government gains significant control. Yes, again, people are not experiencing capitalism anymore. It's not working for them anymore. That's why they're turning to socialism, because the version of capitalism that they are being presented is not true to form. If the final version of the NDAA gives congressional authorization to President Trump's corporatist policy, the country will have taken a major step down the road to serfdom, and Republicans will have lost what little credibility they had left as supporters of free market and limited government. Yes. All of it. Inject it right into my veins. I've loved Ron Paul for years. I proudly voted for Ron Paul for president. He's right. Republicans are not the party of free market anymore. Neither certainly are the Democrats. We don't have a free market anymore. Everything we do, almost every facet of American existence has some layer of government control or influence, more and more often heavily injected into it. And when you have that, you don't have the best necessarily winning, the best ideas, the hardest workers, the best innovation. You have the company that can most appease the government. When a government becomes one of your biggest buyers, one of your biggest customers, you're always appealing, right? You're always appealing to where the money is. It's natural. We all do it. Now, there are some idiots like me who work a job where you're like, I don't care about money. I'm going to talk about things that are important to me. But for the most part, for most people, the dollar is where their attention goes. Their dollar, or the dollar, is where their importance is placed. The dollar and getting the dollar is where their efforts go. Government guts in ingenuity. Government guts freedom. Government guts the entrepreneurial spirit. Government is a safety blanket that ruins creativity. And more importantly, oftentimes it ruins the drive to be better. And when you see the federal government spending $27 billion for 30 companies, number one, they're rigging the game in favor of those companies. They're unleveling the playing field. And they're making those companies, whether they know it or not, far more susceptible to not being as motivated or performing at a high level they previously have. Look at everything government touches. Look at how the government operates. Look at what Braun just did. Hey, here's bonuses for everyone. Oh, how are you handing those out? Based on how long you've been here? But what if the person sucks at their job? Nope, it's based on how long you've been here. That's just the way we're doing it. Sorry. $1,000 if you've been there 6 months. What? You can't even put that on a resume. Well, that's how we're doing it. Sorry about you. I love Ron Paul. I love seeing his writings. I know he doesn't do nearly as much media as he used to because he's getting older, but what a phenomenal thinker. What a great guy. We got a lot more to get to today, guys, including coming up here in just a little bit. Still time for you to get them in. The best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for being with us. Do us a favor today. We're in hour 3. Don't forget, hit that little thumbs up button. Really helps us grow the program. We couldn't do it without you guys. Coming up here in just a little bit, you're going to take over the show. Jason's going to bring you the best comments of the day in the YouTube chat, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. And I know there's a fierce competition at the end of every show when we read those top chatters. Still time to get your comments in. Let me tell you about our friends at Bramwell Mackay. You got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and so much more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. Hey, guys, coming up a little bit later this week, we got a special guest. Doug Carter is going to be with us, former state police superintendent. And, of course, you know, we hit heavy yesterday on the investigation of Jamie Knoll, the new documentary that's out. We're going to talk with Doug a little bit exactly about what went into, easy enough for me to say, that investigation. And his thoughts on, after he stopped being state police superintendent, more stuff, as in much of anything, happening as a result of what they found out about Jamie Knoll. And so Doug will be with us. We're also going to talk about Tom Kleinhelter, the Du Bois County Sheriff, who's now facing these charges here in Marion County. We're going to talk about Kleinhelter and the latest came out with his certification. Doug Carter is such an interesting guest, and he's going to be with us coming up a little bit later this week. A couple of reminders, ways that you can help us grow the program. We call it like, share, and subscribe. I mentioned earlier, hit the thumbs up. A couple other things you can do. Share the feed out. I know we ask this a lot, but the reason we ask you guys to do it is because it works. If you got a Facebook, if you got a YouTube, if you got a Twitter, I don't know why my brain processes Twitter and YouTube is the same thing. I have no idea why, but it does. Share it out. Just simply, there's an easy to share button there on YouTube. Share it out. Let people know where if you're watching, if you're listening to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all the places. Share it out. Let people know about us. We're totally dependent. And last but certainly not least, subscribe to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, wherever you're listening to us from, wherever you're watching us from, helps us grow. And tell your friends, guys. You would be amazed how many people over the years said, hey, found out from you from so-and-so. I'm talking going all the way back to the radio show. Hey, yeah, my friend listened to you, da-da-da. If you're talking to people, tell us about it. Tell them about us. Give us an opportunity. We feel like once we get people, we do a pretty good job of keeping them because nobody's doing Indiana news and politics and government like us. One other thing, if you own a business, we'd love to know about you. If you run a business, we'd love to know about you. If you know somebody who owns or runs a business, or you're in a business where you know the manager, we'd love to know about you. We'd love to put our services to work for you, getting your message out to our very loyal, ever-growing audience. Send me an email, sales@robkendallshow.com, sales@robkendallshow.com, and tell me about you, about yourself, what you do. And we get together, see if we can get to work putting things together for you. All right, so here's how the YouTube chat works. All you have to do to be in the YouTube chat, along with the hundreds and hundreds of other very happy, loyal Rob Kendall Show listeners, is be a subscriber. Hit the subscribe button. You're in the YouTube chat. And each day, Jason monitors the chat for 2.5 hours. And then we open it up to you. It's like our version of, it's just an easier way to open up the phone lines. And what we do is we take the chat, we take your comments, and then I respond to them. It prompts me to maybe think about new things from the topics that we've covered today, things we've talked about today, new ways to think about it. And so with that, we bring in producer Jason.
Hello.
To read the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
All right, Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with an American Heroes discount. Take advantage of it while you can. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. You can also text him 765-315-7558. 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
Bingo.
A lot of fives in there. If you're playing poker.
All right, tell us about the people.
All right, the people. Let me pull this up here real quick and get that rolling. All right, the people. We start with the people from this morning. That would be the old man, 68.
Number one?
I think Rock Laws was on first last night. The old man, 68. Happy Tuesday, fellow Robbleheads. I watched the Jamie Knoll documentary yesterday.
Yes.
And what a story it was.
Well, and we're going to get Doug Carter's thoughts on that Jamie Knoll documentary when he's with us later this week. I think he'll be on Thursday.
All right. Awesome. Here we go. Rusted Bolt Garage morning all going to be another swamp ass and humidity day.
You know who we haven't heard from?
Who?
C Mills.
He's in, I believe.
Is he here?
He's, him and Eagle, they're doing their tow trucking and driving and all that good stuff. But I believe he popped in at some point here. So
all right, well, just keep track of all of our people.
Right. MLM Warriors, happy July 14th, National Tape Measure Day. Got a tape measure right over there. Just used it today. There we go.
Why would a tape measure have a day?
Well, I don't know. Everybody's what do you got against tape measures?
What possible reason could there be for a tape measure to have a day?
Continuing MLM Warriors, I watched Tarnish the Badge documentary yesterday. Very interesting.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people for those WHAS folks. They should send us a thank you letter.
They should. Yeah, we should get a little bit of that YouTube cash. The old man, 68. We all know that Rob and producer Jason will measure up to the standards they set for the show. Should be another banger of a show today.
I see what he did there.
Yeah.
I see what he did there. Yeah. Very funny.
Measure up thing going.
Very funny.
All righty. I believe that's my dad's old tape measure. That thing's probably 50 years old. Yeah. Still works, still measures.
I love that
they
you
haven't
have
changed it yet.
People can't see this, but you have the tote bag from the radio station we owned as well.
Oh, that's right. That was which station was that? TXY?
The one we owned.
We owned. Okay, I was going to say because I managed and worked at many.
Well,
strip clubs, radio stations, they all blend together.
I guess technically you owned a radio. Well, did you technically own it?
I leased one.
Yeah.
Quitman, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long before we owned our station
learned
together.
Our lesson then.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah.
That's a bad move on your part.
Let's see. Driver 4562. Chick-fil-A Cow Appreciation Day is here. Dress like a cow, get some free chicken. There we go.
What?
You eat Chick-fil-A?
They don't have one near Brownsburg, so it's very rare. It's very rare.
Yeah, it's not worth the wait. There's always a line in Greenwood. Never worth it. I guess when they open the Buc-ee's, there'll be plenty of chicken there probably.
They have one in Avon, but that's too far for me to drive.
Yeah, not worth it. All right. Driver 4562. The documentary was great at showing, that would be the documentary on Jamie Knoll, was great at showing how terrible Knoll is and was. Stealing from his brother's family after his death, the crazy car collection. We need a follow-up to see where all his hands went. He's kind of like a brother of a president or something, isn't he? Or the son of a president is kind of the way he kind of fits that mold.
Well, one of the things that I thought was interesting was I asked Sean Bostock, do you think he's going to re-offend?
Mm-hmm.
He said yes. And then he said
he's in until 2033, locked up till 2033. He'll be quite aged by then, I would think.
Well, but then he said he thought
spring chicken.
He thought they may hook him up with some cushy job because his theory is he stayed quiet on enough people that he's going to get rewarded for it. So I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully he'll be able to spin those rewards. Wino Gina, morning everyone. Hopping in the car. Don't forget to hit that like button. Did anyone see the AI Mitch McConnell video? I didn't see the video. I saw the photo. Well,
there's a bunch of them. You can make him do whatever.
Yeah. Well, look, here's Mitch. He's fine. Well, that photo was taken 10 years ago in the hospital. Yeah, but it's a representative of he's fine.
Wasn't that wild that a senator, Ron Johnson, a senator from his own party was like, I don't know.
Well, he even said, well, that photo, we know that's an old photo, but, okay, well, why did that even go out? Okay, we get to Matt Gentry. Oh, no, we're not yet. 06010 board. Mouthy Matt Day. I think, MLM Warrior missed that one on the calendar. Mouthy Matt Day. He also said, I'd like to request a Michael Munger interview.
Oh, Michael Munger.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, that's, we used to have Munger on the
guy.
radio
you
show.
used to have him on IBC. Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask Munger. I'm sure he would do that.
Okay, he's a swell fella.
Those who don't know, Dr. Michael Munger, he's a Duke economist, very renowned economist. He Duke professor, travels the world now. Became sort of one of the people who inspired me to get into politics. He ran for governor in North Carolina,
right,
when we first bought our radio
Rob
station.
Supporter.
And has been on our show many, many times. Yes, we'll talk about the economy. I will do that.
Hey, and another vote, Sue Seifert, 06010 board. Excellent call for more Munger.
Yeah, all right, I'll do it.
All right, let's get him in.
I'll hook it up.
Yep.
We got the Zoom.
Tell him turn his mic on. Okay. Golf Tango X-Ray. The data centers will never pay their full tax share. When the gravy train starts to run out, they'll pull a Colts and threaten to pull out unless they get more goodies. I'm waiting for how many years will it be when they do start deciding, okay, this one's not profitable. We don't need that one. We're going to merge that one. And they just walk away and leave 40 acres of steel and concrete for the local municipalities to tear down. Well, that's going to be the responsibility of the data center. Yeah, but they're out of business and went bankrupt. Sorry. All right, let's build a Buc-ee's. Bowdoin JM. Ford plant seems like a decent location for the data center. That's Sherman Drive. That's the 16th and Sherman? We know that area. I know that area well.
Well, it looks like there may not be any locations for this.
Well, that's very true. The old man 68, I am anti-data center, just like I'm anti-solar farm. Neither do what they claim to do. Good point. Thomas Ho, I'm with Rob on transparency on data centers. The economic development case of data centers doesn't hold up.
Yeah, it's a major issue. I mean, they've got to explain to people how this thing pays off because...
Mm-hmm. No, they don't. They'll just pass them and build
them.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you ever want to have any sort of public buy-in on it, I mean, the fact that, I feel like I study this stuff a lot more than the average person. I'm into this stuff more than the average person. I have no idea.
Read a lot.
I have no idea, and I understand government finance and understand other. I am perplexed at how it actually pays off in the end, given the risks associated. Mm-hmm. And if I don't get it, I don't think most people would get it. So I don't know. I just one idiot's opinion.
Yep. MLM Warriors, Rob, you are not an idiot. Do not put yourself down. Did you call yourself an idiot?
I just did.
Oh, I didn't pay attention. Sorry. I just take it for fact.
Yeah,
whatever you say. All righty. Let's see. What do we got here? Bowdoin JM. A few of those solar farms in northwest Indiana got slammed by this year's tornadoes. Recycling centers appreciated the recycling materials from those solar farms. There we go. At least they were able to recycle. Zion will sing. Rob, would YouTube ban you if you said you were anti-data center? I don't see anything good that can come out of them.
I don't
think Rob's pro data center.
My thing is, I want to know the finances.
Mm-hmm.
I want somebody to explain to me how, if one of these comes to your community, it pays off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to hear that conversation. Just nobody's having the conversation. All we hear about is the value of the building. Well, but it's under the abatement. They don't pay the sales tax in many cases. They don't have employees. What is the win of the thing? Once somebody lays out the win to me, I'm open to hearing more. I know the negatives. I know the ramifications. I don't know the wins.
I think Doug Cobb put it best when he said, I want to know.
That's right. Yes.
All right. Charles Ludy, for all the supposed green energy benefits the solar and wind farms bring, they are clogging a lot of our open spaces. Not sure what that means. Similarly to the data centers. I'm not sure what clogging.
Could have been a typo.
Could have been. Although he could be speaking over my head. MLM Warriors, why can't data centers be 20 stories high instead of 2 floors high? Ooh. What, are they going to be 40 acres? Couldn't they be 40 floors?
Oh, I see what you're saying, like a high rise.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Why do they only got to be 2 floors?
This is what I'm saying. Nobody knows anything about the data centers.
Right.
Part of the problem.
Big part
of the problem.
We want to know. The 06010 board, we need to be in nuclear power plant overdrive. Are you anti or pro Nuclear power.
Well,
plant
my issue with the here's my issue with the nuclear is the utilities got that sweetheart deal from the government, the state government, where they get 80% of the research and development on this SMR, these small modular reactors, back, whether the technology succeeds or not. And there's no real history of anywhere in this country the SMRs doing the job yet. It doesn't mean they can't. It doesn't mean they won't. But can you think of any other industry where the company gets 80% of a failed R&D back from the consumer? Like, that's my issue with it. It's not the technology. It's that we're paying for it whether it works or not.
Connie Lindsay, great show today.
Thank you.
Connie, a big player in the anti-data center there in Shelbyville, keeping that whole thing together. Steve Green with an E. Tell you what, the chat was on freaking fire today. Thanks, chatters. You're awesome. Great show. Stay cool.
Gentry always brings out the best in the chat.
Yep. And he did. We'll get to that here. Let's see where we at here. Oh, the old man. Nice Argyle socks, Rob.
Thank you.
Match your Skechers. Liam 8740.
I hope you people notice how much better I dress for this show than I used to dress for the radio show.
I don't think anybody could really see you on those crap cameras they had. I used to complain about those just because they were crap.
They were old. They
paid
were
like $25 for these or something.
Yeah.
I only get this is Liam. I only get the first hour typically, but I like how Rob gets so much great information in just 1 hour.
Thank you. It's a trained professional.
Well, Liam, if you could listen for the other 2 hours, you would be just triply enthused.
Oh, I thought you were going to say doubly disappointed.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. Trying to promote here, Rob. Mad Duck, big tech / corp can do whatever they want now, and if their business is toxic, it sucks for their neighbors.
I think a lot of people are of that belief system. Yes, that the people exist to serve the businesses now.
All right, I think we're getting to the Matt Gentry stuff, which is good. Stay tuned for that. 06010 board. I bet Rob has to change his shirt to talk to Mayor Matt and then change back because he just felt so unclean after that conversation. Did you feel dirty, Rob?
Hey, here's the deal. I don't agree with the guy. I think he's dead wrong on the stuff with the leap. You know my feeling on the idea of I don't care how much money somebody's throwing at you. There's certain things that can't be replaced. I think character of area. I think history. I think idea of community. I think that stuff gets evaporated when things like the Meta Complex or Lilly come in. But I will say this about Gentry. I think he genuinely believes everything he's saying. I don't think there's anything he's saying that is not of his genuine
believes it because it's beneficial to him and his cause and what he's trying to do. And
he believes the money is the most important thing. I think he looks at, that's the only reason you would want that there. And they probably will contribute a lot of money to the city of Lebanon. Doesn't help me at all, though. I don't live in Lebanon. So I don't want to be subsidizing your taxpayers, which is what's happened through the IEDC. And, but I don't think there's any. I think he believes everything he says. I think he's wrong, but I think and so we should give him credit for coming in and having the conversation. We always say, these guys are chicken, they're not transparent, they're not this, they're not that. Well, he's not. So you can be pissed off about what he says, and that's fine. But you got to give him credit because he comes in and talks.
All right, Charles Ludy, see, he was speaking above our heads. No typo, that's okay. An expression from back home.
Oh.
That was the thing. And if I go back and try to find that, I'll lose my place.
You don't.
But, MLM Warriors, I did not like the table set up yesterday, but today I like it. See, it grows on you. Just got to give it time.
Oh, I was like, what's different? It's the same thing. She's
reversed. He's saying it's reversed because, again, the sign used to be on your left, my right.
Right, but it was on my right yesterday.
Right. He says he didn't like it yesterday.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah,
today it's okay.
I gotcha.
Kind of takes a moment to kind of grow on you there a little bit for the people listening on Apple,
Bingo.
Spotify, and what have you. We switched it around a little bit. All right. Okay, let's see. There was something else. User BD2UZ7KC8V says, Rob, you dress better because now we have to see your face. You see his feet too, but that's there you go, the Skechers. Okay, continuing on. Now we're talking about Gentry here. Alma Joy Tempo, I can totally appreciate that Gentry shows up. That being said, I am wearing my gas mask because I know it's about to get smoky up in here. Steve Green with an E. Steve Green with it. He's a little more blunt than Almond Joy Tempo. He is so full of crap. Get the F out of here. Shrug Sandwich. Okay, wait a minute. That didn't apply to this. The freedom is a grand illusion. They're talking about we have freedom, yet we have all these lawmakers cramming this crap down our throat.
Right.
Mad Duck. Maintain your building. No, that's not a question. Maintain your building. It's a statement. It could last forever if you take care of it.
Talking about the police station.
Yeah, because we're going on here with Almond Joy Tempo. The
Police
shamelessness. He has a nice tan, though. Steve Green with an E. He's not a big Gentry fan. That dude is an asshat. Get after him, Rob. You did a pretty good job there. Am I blocking? I'll make sure I'm not blocking. Okay. Camera. I've got a camera in a different place as well. The old man 68. Who cares about the age of the building? Pay for the maintenance and move on. That's a lower cost than a multi-million-dollar new building. But they've got to go to work every morning in a brand new building. They can't go to the old crappy schoolhouse that's converted.
Yeah, that's a weak argument. And it's like where I live, they're building another police station in the maintenance building, and they're spending who knows how much, tens of millions on it. And it's like, look at the police station they have now. They just built it in 2006.
Right.
What the hell's wrong with that?
That's for better service.
But it really comes back to, you and I were talking about this.
Shouldn't they be in their cars on the street, patrolling?
It comes back to the argument the conversation you and I were having earlier today, which is if the growth isn't paying for itself, why are we doing the growth?
He even said it, and I don't know, was it after we were talking or while he was on air? If you're stagnant, if your town is stagnant, then it's going to cost more. If you bring new people in, you've got a new tax base. And I've never agreed with that, because what happens in Greenwood when you bring more people in and you got a bunch of 2-lane roads because you have no competency to plan ahead. So you bring the people in, then you think, well, we probably ought to widen Worthsville Road. Okay, well, it takes you a year to do it. But then by the time you're done, you've had to pull the sewer systems out. You've had to redo brand new sewer systems because, well, those pipes are too small to handle all the housing development. So we're going to have to expand that. And we're going to have to tax you more on that. We're going to raise the sewer tax. We're going to add a water tax. And, not add the water tax. We're going to raise all of it. But look, you got a 4-lane road now. Yeah, but we still can't get down that 4-lane road because there's so many people. And we're paying more. Thank you, new people, for moving in. Not that it's the new people moving in, not their fault. But when you say more people moving in will lower your taxes, when have they ever gone down? That's just a total lie, and he knew it, in my opinion. That's the only problem I had with that interview.
Now, as someone who has actually cut people's property taxes every year they were in office, you can use growth to cut taxes, but it has to be your priority. It has to be.
He's no Rob Kendall.
No. And we never raised the water and sewer rates on people, because every decision you make, you're right, has to be about what is the ramification of this growth, and they don't do that.
Right.
Like if you're going to put this housing development in, show me. This was always my thing with like residential growth. Show me how it lowers the burden of everybody here. If it doesn't, I'm not for it.
Right.
But you don't have the right. I mean, you have the right to move here, but you don't have the right to build a development in my community. That's earned.
The developer, it should be a built-in cost. They pay for all the new sewer systems, all the new water lines, any cost that's going to be involved in that. And if they have to expand the sewer system, expand the water system, you take all those developments, not the people's fault, the developers, before they buy the land and say, this is what's going to cost you. So add that price to the houses. And then maybe they wouldn't build that many in, and they would go out further into the country and that sort of thing. Again, people buy houses, people move in. It's, you can't close the gate behind you. But to say that that line that it's going to lower taxes or sharing the burden is just ridiculous. You're sharing a higher burden.
Now, he is going to get...
And you get more parks so people can go walk their dogs so they can poop. I mean...
No, like when he talks about Lebanon, the actual city of Lebanon, which is small compared to the area, the city of Lebanon, because of essentially the subsidy by the taxpayers of Indiana, because it's all ran through the IEDC, is going to get a whole bunch of money from the Meta Lilly stuff. But they didn't just do it on their own. It's done through a massive taxpayer subsidy, better known as the IEDC, that we all paid for. So when he's talking about, there's going to be this money flowing in because they've set this thing up as a special deal. But every city and town doesn't have the ability to set up and do this special deal because they don't have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars flowing in from the IEDC.
Mm-hmm.
So, here is the one thing I will say, though, is he ran for re-election. All the people that were huffing and puffing about him had the ability to get him out, and they didn't get him out.
Right.
So, if you can't, you got to punish people at the ballot box. You can't let people get a free pass.
TIF3HV shouldn't be extra credit for just showing up. That should be expected. That's a good point, too.
Well, it is, but how many of them won't do it?
Mm-hmm.
Look at Mike Young going nuts on Facebook, other platforms. Would he show up here? No way.
Mm-hmm.
He'd never walk in here, ever.
Who?
Mike Young.
Oh, Mike Young.
The senator.
Okay. What about Todd?
Maybe Todd Young would come in.
Did you send Todd an invitation? All right. Vic Ferrari, bring it, Jason. MLM Warriors, Jason's on it today. All right, that's my soapbox. We'll roll off that.
Here's the one thing I will say about Todd Young.
Mm-hmm.
The last encounter I had with Todd Young was eventful, but he didn't ban me from the event, unlike other Republican events I've been banned from. And he was willing to square up. He didn't.
Yeah, you be careful there. I don't know if you know this or not, but Todd was a Marine.
But he did not. I will say this about Tucker. He did not ban me from the event, which he could have because it was a private event, and he was like, "No, you can stay."
By the way, Steve Green with an E. If you're still in there, we have Marines in there. Are you a former Marine? Are you still a current Marine? If you're not serving, are you always a Marine? How does that? Because you say, "Well, he used to be a Marine." Is it one of those deals where no, you're always a Marine for the rest of your life? Just a.
Like president, right? Like you don't say. You always say president. Obama.
Yeah, well, you do say former president, but I think the Marines have a thing. I'm not sure. I don't want to be disrespectful, so even to Todd. Sue Seifert, our school districts purposely let things go on maintenance to pass the referendums. So they let them go to crap and then say, oh, look what we got problems here. Yeah. 06010 board. If you need to raise taxes, then you did your growth wrongly.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. Everything you do should be, as an elected official, about reducing the burden of the people that are there. And I think it comes back to putting value on, we always talk about like value to be a U.S. citizen.
Right.
Like, hey, coming to the country, you can't let people in illegally because people do it the right way. That has to have meaning. I think the same thing is true with coming to a community. If you just let any development go up, whether it helps the people that are there or not, you're devaluing what it means to be a part of that community. And part of every development, if you're going to move into our town, our city, what do you bring? What value do you bring to the community that is a place that people have built that's clearly good enough you wanted to live here?
Josh Richardson, the ratings would be off the charts if you got Todd Young on the show. Well, you kind of agree with Todd. I mean, on certain things.
I agree with Todd on the thing that he's hammering home right now, which is the stock trading stuff. And he's one of the few guys who is willing to talk about that publicly. Like most of these lawmakers won't do that. And I've said this numerous times. I wholeheartedly agree with him on that. Of course, I vehemently disagree with him on the spending. But the stuff with the stock trading, he's spot on. And the fact that he's one of the few people willing to speak out about it is ridiculous. But he is spot on with that. And so what we're talking about is banning members of Congress from being able to trade stocks.
Right.
And he's a big supporter of that.
All right. The old man, 68, once a Marine, always a Marine. Yep. So you're never a former Marine. You're a Marine. So Todd Young, if you didn't know, he's a Marine. Okay. Golf Tango X-Ray. I live in a 65-year-old building. Can I get a referendum to pay for a new one?
Fair question.
Yep. Kevin Branham. I can't stand Gentry.
I mean, 65 years, there's lots of houses that were built in the 60s that people live in.
Yeah.
I felt that about the sports stadiums, too, and they're like, well, that's a 30-year-old stadium.
I mean,
so what?
Yeah, you go to Perry Township, even the south side of it. There's a lot of houses built in the 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, they'd be 60-some years old now. So
I think
people keep them up, still live in them.
I thought it was a very weak argument.
Yeah.
I hope it fails. I don't know. People are hesitant to vote against their police, but I hope there's some organized opposition because that would be. I thought the argument was weak.
All right, the old man. 68. There is no way he's going to eliminate property tax and build a multi-million-dollar police station. He probably thinks the data centers are great for the community, too.
Yeah, and we didn't have time to get into it. I need to go back on his math because there's no way with 2 referendums you're going to be under the tax cap. Like, that doesn't... But I didn't have time to get into it with him, and I got to go back and look at the tax rates and everything else, and it was like, that would just lose people. I can't be like, stop the interview, Jason. So I got to go back and look at some of that.
Well, we can stop it.
Well, I know you could, but I felt like that might disrupt the flow.
Yes, it would. You throw Matt off his talking points.
I don't care about throwing him off the talking points. I care about me keeping the flow of the interview.
He's a nice guy, though. He's not my mayor, so I can probably say that.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me at all.
He's a nice guy. Off the show. Okay, Penny Lucas, that's a new one. I'm in Lebanon, and my taxes went up because my quote-unquote house value went up by 1/3. Help. Lebanon used to be affordable. That's what happens to the donut county towns. Yep. Welcome to the new Indianapolis. All right, the old man, 68. So this moron thinks he needs to increase taxes in order to make people stay and keep students in the local schools. After he said that, he wants to eliminate property tax.
So the math is tough. Now, I'm not doubting he has some math that might show it, but the math is tough. To have 2 referendums and somehow be lowering taxes is tough. It's a tough one.
All right, Steve Green with an E. This guy wants to talk about property taxes and referendum are separate things and then talks about government needs. The government does not need a new thing when the current thing works. Yeah, that 65-year-old building. That could work.
Yeah, again, the building's old argument is a tough one. Well, I'm just saying with regular people, it's a tough one.
MLM Warriors, the interview set looks nice.
Thank you
very much.
That's all, Jason.
Yes, it is. Driver 4562, GDS. That was something Gentry brought up. Gentry
derangement syndrome.
Wow, the ego is high on this one. TIF3HV. Yes, it is. This guy is a politician hero in his own mind. LD Stoltz, the police should be in the field, not in the office. That's what I said for the most part. Yeah, how many police officers do you need in the building?
It's a fair. I assume they're going to have answers.
I mean,
and
it's not like Indianapolis where you got obviously people shooting each other all over the place every night. But I mean, in Greenwood, in Lebanon, I mean, how much other than a few administrative people, what do they need to be in an air conditioned building for? I mean, they've got McDonald's for that. That's where you usually see them in Greenwood. Okay, LD Stoltz. It's my understanding that the Noblesville Police Department are going to be doing the same thing soon. They are taking over the old Firestone property, soil testing now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Charles Ludy. New school referendums and unnecessary building projects are what keep these kleptocrats in office. Shake my head. SMH. TIF3HV. Guy is a hero in his own mind. Yep. Penny Lucas, Lebanon, the town, or people of Lebanon? ? Who are you really for, Matt? That's right. Are you there for the town to leave a legacy so you can say, look what I did? Or are you there for the people who can say, look where we live? Good.
Yeah, no. I think that's a very, and we've talked about this before, where the elected people get into the idea of the entity like actually being a thing versus just it's the people that make up the entity.
Here's one. Okay, Nick Pender. Once I think he's my lawn jockey.
Oh, your lawn guy.
Yeah, he does a great job. My manicurist, my lawn manicurist is what I'm trying to say.
I find it hilarious that you don't have your able-bodied son go out and do the yard work.
Cut his foot off or something. That's easier to pay somebody else to do it. Once a Marine, always a Marine until they have pulled the cold, hard steel from their hands after death. They are considered a former Marine at that time. His father was a Marine.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for your father's service there, Nick. Hope to see you out at Rust Party on my birthday. All right. Get your
everybody needs to go.
Get your RSVP in there.
Rustforamerica@gmail.com coming out.
Okay, here's one. Rock Laws. I assume this is not being sarcastic. I think Matt seems like a good mayor. Wow.
Well, I mean, he won re-election.
Yeah, obviously a lot of people thought he was a good mayor, think he's a good mayor.
Or nobody good ran against him, one of the two.
Just one of those in there. And then he writes later on, gosh, am I reading this Matt guy wrong? I think peer pressure is getting to him, I think.
He's getting worn down by anonymous people in the YouTube chat.
Well, they're not anonymous. They're family.
Well,
Steve Green with an E.
I'm thinking it's not like they're going to come over to your house and bully you.
Right. Steve Green with an E. He just said he wasn't a narcissist. Only a narcissist would say that. Yep. The old man 68. Lights, quote, he's quoting Matt, lights reflect off the clouds, unquote. That's your excuse for nighttime construction? Yeah.
Look, that article was pretty damaging. I mean, it really looks like, and I used the example, that road they built in my neighbor's backyard, that government just doesn't seem to give a damn about how stuff impacts people. They want it done. They're going to do it. They're going to allow it to get done. Mm-hmm. That article in the Indy Star, I mean, he can excuse it or spin it however it was. It was pretty good insight into how those people have been treated.
And Rocklaws also apparently likes more. I said and say, build more police stations. Well, hire more police.
Oh.
And put them in the cars. Buy more cars and police officers. I could go for that, but just a place for them to go and sit. I whatever. Let somebody else do the write-up. Okay. Talking about the lights. Golf Tango X-Ray. What a load of crap. I'm 10 miles from there, and the lights at night are polluting my view. Josh Richardson.
Wow, 10 miles.
Yeah, Josh Richardson. This guy is a clown. He's so unaware of how he comes off to people. Probably doesn't care anyway. Penny Lucas. There are tons of people here from other states that are working on this project. One told me he expects construction to go on for 4 years.
Jeez.
And Baby Fishmouth. It just seems gross to me that he's the son of the guy who ran the House Republican Campaign Committee. The political incest and self-enrichment is unethical. I think that's all over politics. Jared Howlett. Matt should go stay with someone whose home is affected by all the construction. Gain some perspective. Sounds like as long as it doesn't affect him and his family, he's fine with it. And Penny Lucas one more time in here. So sell your home and just live with it. Oh my, what a horrible thing to say. Yeah, kind of like just, okay, if you don't like it, sell it and move, because that's what we're going to do anyway, even though you've been here for however long.
I did think he came off as pretty
like his mind is made up.
Well,
and
lack of
empathy.
empathy.
To hear your complaints and comments, but okay, thanks. Have a nice day.
Like when I hear that, I try to put myself as a former elected person, like in his position. And one of the things I did while I was an elected person was an annexation, and there were people who were upset about it. Now, I did the annexation to preserve the character of the area, rather than like this has all been about develop the area, but people just didn't want to be a part of the annexation. You do reach a point once you've checked every box, like we did, like to make sure everybody could do all the stuff they had previously been able to do, make sure they could do all the burning, the shooting the guns, all the stuff where you're just like, I don't want to be annexed is not an answer. You have to tell me what else you're concerned about not getting that I haven't put in this document that we took months and months and months to go through. So I've tried to put that hat on. But he does come like that Indy Star article is damaging the lives of those people right now. I think he said in the article or in the interview, right, that he thinks it's a bit of an over-exaggeration, or I forget exactly what it was. But yeah, he didn't come off earning any
based
fans.
on what he's been told or what he's witnessed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he handles that correctly. I think he also just sick of a lot of these people's crap. So I don't know. But he comes in. That's the thing, man. You just got to give the guy credit for having a conversation.
And I know we got a few minutes left here. Let's hit the Trump stuff real quick. I'll just blast through some of these. Charles Luty. The Trumpster thought he could flex his muscles after a turkey shoot in Venezuela, and he's in a bind. I actually think he is feeling green that he botched this operation in Iran so terribly. Mad Duck. We've demolished their military, yet every other day they seem to have salvaged just enough to make war on another day. Who listens to this tripe and believes any of it? Baby Fishmouth. What an embarrassing stooge. Jay, Indiana. If Iran rebuilt their nuke plants in less than a year, we should have hired them to redo our roads. Steve Green with an E. If we could piss people off enough about government to match their outrage over data centers and Buc-ee's, we would have better lives. Yeah, people would concentrate on what's more important there. Shrog Sandwich. Steve, we fought a revolution for less. Correct. Vic Ferrari. Well, but let's see. Okay, the Buc-ee's. I was looking at some other stuff here. Okay, so we'll leave it with this. Vic Ferrari, you're a big final close today before we get to the points. I'm going to go ahead and defer to producer Jason's commentary on the Trump situation. Let's make some time at the end of the show for it. Well, dang, we ran out of time because got to tell you, I was in Trump's corner, but I'm slowly, kind of like Homer Simpson, fading back into the bushes. Like, let me know when it's over, because telling you, Trump, it was a stupid move to go into Iran, and it was a stupid move not to continue. And I know what happened when he made the announcement he was going to blow up the bridges and hospitals. That's when all the Democrats popped out with impeachment, and he realized, that could be some war crimes. We'll just sit back and it'll look like I'm trying to negotiate. Look, we got a deal. And then Iran said, we know how close you are to the midterm elections. We'll just, we've got more people that can die for us, for the country. So we'll just play this out and see who wins, because we know how off the Democrats are, and they will impeach you. And I think that's what Trump's fighting there, and he just won't say it. So not a good look, and not a great thing. So I have no excuses, and I still rather have him as president than Kamala Harris. But that's again the either or. Okay, so we go to the points. Top fans. We do this because the more you comment in the chat, the more points you rack up in the chat, and you too could be number one if you just chatted more. All right, so let's go to number 10. That's Josh Richardson, had 225 points. He was tied with C. Mills, who was in the chat today, Rob, and Sue Seifert, all with 225 points. Number 7, Charles Ludi, tied with MLM Warriors for number 7 and 6. Number 5 was Steve Green with an E with 275 points. The Old Man, 68, number 4 with 300 points. Also Driver, 4562 with 300 points. Number 2, Kevin Branham, I think he was our champion yesterday, perhaps. I'm not sure. 325 points. Today, it was Rock Laws all over it. 350 points. And today, we beat yesterday. We had over 50 people chatting while the show was going on. That is some participation that we love to see. And we love our chatters. And the chatters love Rob. So that'll do it for the chat today. Black Sheep Plumbing. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. Stay cool out there. Check on your neighbors. Check on your friends. And we will see you right back here 9 until noon tomorrow. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.